This is Jonah Hill, and you're listening to the only podcast that matters.
Bro Gang, we are joined by the Baron of the blogs, King of the clicks. He fantasized about how to make the Chicago blog go, how you say broken Spanish, me no hablo, the MP3 MVP. His throwbacks make the hoes throw it back. The anniversary admiral, the fun fact pharaoh, the trivia trigger man, your favorite critic's favorite critic, the maestro of mixtape era. Call him Dumbo because his ears go crazy. So many deep cuts, he could be a barber. The Shah of Chi-Town, the Jordan of journalism. Woo. His digital writing, that's the real pen and pixel. Founder of Fake Shore Drive and hip hop luminary Andrew Barber. Andrew, how the hell are you?
In the building.
Man, that's incredible. I was wondering how you were going to put that together.
Hip-hop luminary.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible.
In the house of Vans.
Yeah, shout out Vans, dude, for hosting us.
Hell yeah, man. Shout out to Scuba Steve here. We're at the House of Vans. Steve. And Steve Balzer. You know, we're here in the House of Vans Chicago live. Thank you guys for having me. It's
bro.
an honor. I'm a fan of the podcast.
When we knew we were coming here, we're like, yo, there's only one person who needs to get on the podcast.
Barber up.
It's
That's it.
Chief Keef. Oh, he's not available? Okay. All right, let's get Barber.
Okay, plan B, plan Barber.
Yeah. It's not a bad consolation prize.
No.
I think he's in LA now.
Yeah, right? He hadn't been here in like a decade, unfortunately.
Which
10
is
years.
the
10
problem.
years anniversary. Finally, 10 years? 15 years?
Yeah.
Oh, no, Love Sosa, 10 years.
Love
right?
Sosa.
Yeah, Love Sosa 10 years anniversary this past week, and also Trinidad James, all gold everything.
That's right.
Two big records from 2012. What a year.
If you were a Molly dealer 10, 15 years ago, whatever it was.
You're crushing.
Yeah.
Crushing.
Those were the halcyon days.
Yeah.
People were just eating them like Skittles.
Popping them, dude. Yeah. Once you pop, you can't stop. Andrew, the first thing you want to do is a little fit check where you're going to walk us and the audience at home through the totality of your fit today. The choice for you, sir, is do you want to start top down or bottom up?
Bottom up. We'll start bottom up. We'll go that way. So we're at the House of Vans. So it was only right that I wore some Vans, some all white Vans.
Are you gonna skate later?
I might get into some skating. I might bust my ass. But I'm a little too old for that, but you never know. You never know what's going to happen.
Got the clean white skate highs.
Yeah. And then the socks are Juggernaut. Shout out to Juggernaut, local brand.
Okay.
The pants are actually from Costco.
Oh, wait,
dude,
word?
These are from dude. I buy I'll get like fancy pants from fancy places, but also I like to buy pants from Costco. I bought every color in these,
Like a 24 pack of them?
Yeah, they come with a free glizzy and slice of pizza.
Dude, look, I will go to hardware stores in the middle of the suburb, middle of nowhere, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and find like canvas pants.
Oh, yeah.
I try to find the most random
That's
stuff.
the real shit. That's the real blue collar stolen valor. You go to the hardware store and you get the fucking Carhartts.
We're in the heartland.
Dude,
you know?
catching me at Ace Value in Highland Park, picking up,
Copping up, blowing a bag, dude.
just blowing a bag. You know, $25.
Yeah, what's the brand?
They're called
Costco?
weatherproof. They're just called weatherproof.
Okay. You need them. You need them here.
Brand is just the product description.
You know,
Straight up.
a lot of people might come in here and lie and say there's something else. I'm straight up. I got these at Costco.
Nah, you're a true man of the people.
You get the Kirkland tees there. You could get a whole fit off.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. And you would probably you would look good.
Yeah, right. You can get a whole fit off in Costco. Sometimes
Absolutely.
I want to. You guys should do a show where it's like
At Costco?
go to Walmart and see if you can get a fit off.
I'll give you 20 bones in like Target, Walmart, Costco fit battle.
Anyway, the T-shirt ICP.
Oh.
Riddle box vintage shirt.
I
had
like
to wear
that.
it.
Are you an ICP guy? You're Juggalo?
Hell no.
Oh.
This is to take the power back from the Juggalo that threw Faygo on me in high school.
Oh, shit.
What flavor?
It was cream soda.
Oh, damn.
The red cream soda.
Oh, no, dude.
The nuclear red one. Did you ever go to the gathering of the Juggalos?
No. I'm not I couldn't even name one ICP song.
Oh, shit.
This is just ironic, baby. This is all irony.
I mean, it's
right
a
here.
cool fucking, spooky situation for Halloween coming up.
It's vintage. It's from 95 when the album came
The
out.
one song I know that's like, how do magnets work?
Yeah. Magnets. How do
Everybody
they work?
knows, but I'm not an ICP fan. I love the
Scuba
shirt,
Steve, though, he clocked you right when you walked in on that.
He didn't miss it, did he?
Yeah.
He didn't miss it.
He gave you the fucking Faygo handshake.
Yeah. The secret.
Anyway, yeah, shout out to ICP, man. You know,
Couldn't name one song, but shout him out.
but shout him out. I like the shirt. You know, boxers are Tommy Hilfiger. Only do Tommy Hilfiger.
Boxers or boxer briefs?
Boxers.
There we
Boxer
go.
briefs. Boxer briefs.
Yeah.
Boxer briefs.
That's
All
a
right.
big debate.
Actually, but like they're not briefs. Like the briefs are like super tight fitting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're boxer, but they're like that material.
Okay.
They're not like a boxer hard.
They're an in-betweener.
They're an in-betweener.
What about this overshirt? It's
Yeah,
fucking
this is
nice, dude.
spicy.
Yeah,
dude.
this is All Saints.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And-
Damn, I'm saying Scott Johns. What the fuck?
right. And then
He's got heat.
What?
the belt is Louis.
Ooh, is it like a?
Yeah. So it's not like an obnoxious one. This is a little more.
Was it like a Virgil Louis era, or is it like from
no? It's from back.
in the day?
It's probably like 10 years old. I guess is that vintage now? It's 10 years vintage.
Yeah, I think that's
I
like
think 10 years
that's
is a
the cutoff.
demarcation.
Like if you asked Etsy.
Damn. Okay, so it's vintage. God
Yo,
damn, I'm
Etsy.
getting old.
What's vintage?
Exactly.
And the hat is a Fake Shore Drive hat, man.
Yeah, you
no
came
merch.
through with the merch. Very generous guy.
Dude, I
Thank
had
you
to
very
hook
much.
you guys up, man. You
Talk
guys
about
were throwing fits.
the hardware.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the hardware. The ice, just a little.
I was gonna
bracelet, just
say
a little tennis
dancing
bracelet.
a little bit.
The wrist is dancing with the stars.
Just a little something, and then the Gucci link and the just the Cuban link.
Tucked.
Yeah,
Keeping it subtle.
Just keep it tucked, man.
Yeah.
and then an
You know what I
Apple
It is
Watch.
Chicago- it
mean?
is
And
Chicago
just the
after
Apple
all.
Watch, man. You know, I keep it. I like to balance it all. You know
I
what
can
I
see
mean?
that.
I like
Yeah,
to go high low.
Yeah, classic and new age.
Yeah, you know the vibes.
All right, and we're,
ICP and Steve Jobs did.
and we're sipping on a big Yeti tumbler of what? What is that? Iced coffee?
Am I the first person to wear ICP shirt on the show?
Yes, and,
Oh,
and
1000%,
Costco,
bro.
and
Yeah.
All Saints.
Yeah.
Oh, a trio of firsts.
Trio first. Is that a whack fit?
Typically we would clown All Saints, but this shirt before
I
knowing
just
what
thought
it
I
was,
liked it. I saw it. It was a normal.
and that's what matters. And that's what
The
matters.
only other guy that ever wore All Saints on the show, and it was our previous podcast, was El Presidente himself, Dave Portnoy.
Oh, my God.
You're in a very exclusive club, and he was buying Johns at the airport.
dude.
That was
yeah.
a joke. Another media mogul.
Honestly, straight up.
Straight up, man. My fit is whack. But
And what are we
damn,
sipping
you said
on?
it.
What are we sipping on at the giant 32
what-
ounce big gulp Yeti?
Oh man, that's just agua, baby.
Oh,
That's
yeah?
just water. I'm not drinking. You know, that'd be crazy if I was just riding around drinking midday like this.
I thought it was
right?
a coffee maybe or something.
I had,
Which would
I
also
had a
be
couple
crazy.
coffees. You know, I've been up early. I got kids, so I've been up since way early. I've been up, getting them ready for school. In the
But
morning.
staying hydrated for
Staying
this
hydrated.
marathon podcast.
I know. I know we're about to talk. You know,
Pressing
so-
the Costco's, making them crispy.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I go to Costco. I live that lifestyle.
Yeah, dude. All right, fit check, drink check, complete. Andrew, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the
Let's get into
podcast. Fake Shore Drive.
Yeah.
Such an influential
Iconic.
site, brand, everything. It just turned 15 years old. What has been the biggest change that you've seen within hip hop media in that time span?
Big question out the gate, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are coming out firing.
Instagram. The answer is Instagram.
Yeah, IG, TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, look, you guys were around for all that, the eras, and you've seen it go. I think just like when I first came in 2007, I started, it was like a weird transitional time in the industry.
Yeah.
Sales were down. You know, it was still, everybody was relying on Apple Store, iTunes sales, CD sales. So really the blogs came as an answer to that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of artists weren't signed. A lot of artists,
Sure.
if they were signed, they weren't able to put out albums or stuff was flopping. And it was like the metrics were off. It was just a weird time in the industry.
Success was measured by CD sales, which wasn't necessarily the indication of actual.
And rap fans weren't really, doing it. It was MP3. We were living in an MP3 world. And we had been for almost a decade at that point.
When
But
did
like,
Carter 3 drop? Because that was the last one where I remember you would read the headline was like 1 million in a week.
that was 08? Was that 08? That was 08.
Yeah, so I mean, we're talking about that,
Yeah.
like that transition, like right at that's the tail end, and then the fucking page turns.
Yeah, I started Fake Short Drive a month after Graduation came out.
Oh shit!
And Graduation and Curtis and all that
Right,
happened.
the showdown.
And I think like the time that I was experiencing, what was going on in Chicago was like really cool. Like Lupe's Ascension was coming. You know, we're a couple months out of the Cool dropping. Food and Liquor was out.
Yeah.
And of course, Kanye was like the god here or whatever. But then Lupe was like really rising. Of course, you had Common and Twista who had like their big resurgence around that time, and they were killing it. And then Lupe came, and like me and Lupe are the same age, so like, Kanye's a little older, so like everybody was like kind of like Lupe was the guy at the time. You know what I mean? He was like
He was next up.
He was next up. He was like the coolest thing in Chicago, and then also you had like the cool kids,
Right.
That's
who
right,
were
dude.
Absolutely
Fire.
Like the cool kids, and they changed the way people dressed, and they changed the way people were doing music. This is the sound of music, and like they would have these shows here at different like local venues and bars, and the lines would be down the street for it to get into this. It would be multicultural,
Right. Well, they were like
gay,
kind of
straight-
they were like a hipster.
they were a hipster group.
hipster
And
rappers,
so it was like a different crowd of people that were going to like cool kid shows, and that you would see, somebody else in town. And so like, it was just a weird time because a lot of rappers that were like starting to pop on blogs, like the blogs were really starting to become like the main taste making.
Yeah.
You had Fake Short Drive. You had Not Right. You had what, like Two Dope Boys,
Cocaine Blunts,
Cocaine
Byron
Blunts, shout out
Crawford.
Nas. Yeah.
If you remember Byron Crawford, shout out to he was
that's-
like the
psycho, dude.
early internet terrorist, right?
I think he's still like terrorizing still, right?
He's still. I get his
Patreon or some shit.
Yeah. I still check out his newsletter from time to time.
He's on Interpol. Wild boy.
He's on Interpol's Most Wanted.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, but like, dude, Byron was a big deal. He gave Combat Jack his shot back then.
Really?
So Combat Jack's first like blogging was on Byron Crawford's site.
Is Byron from Chicago?
No, he's from St. Louis.
Oh, okay.
But he was just an early guy,
But a Midwest guy.
He could troll rapper, like he was getting rappers to respond.
Yeah,
like early.
Elite troll.
Elite troll. Were the leaders of all these blogs? Were you guys like in some like Illuminati network? Like, did you know everybody?
No. Eventually, I've met met pretty much everybody from the blogs. Like, I think really SK from Now Right is the one that kind of came up with the format of how like a blog. Like, I think like the first one that I really enjoyed reading was Cocaine Blunts with Nas.
Yeah.
Andrew.
I mean, an incredible critic, writer,
great. And
amazing ear, like the man.
Yeah. And he was one of the first people I remember blogging. And of course, like Jeff Wise, Passion of the Wise was
shout
around
out Jeff.
then. David Drake, So Many Shrimp.
Our boy.
And Chicago guys.
In Chicago.
So, all these different people were like kind of happened at the time.
What a legendary fucking roster of like
murderers
minds and ears, dude.
Yeah. So it was fun to be around then, but like, I don't know, I guess I went all the way around the block to answer that question. But like, it was just an exciting time because it kind of felt like the people were able to get the power back, so to speak. And
it flattened the critical landscape.
Yeah, it flattened the critical landscape, and it felt like we almost had more juice than like the labels in the real industry at that time. Like people were going to blogs because you guys were the gatekeepers without a doubt, not in like a pejorative sense, but like you guys definitely felt like
we just had Joe Coscarelli on the podcast, and his book Rap Capital. He's talking about how Coach K was like reading the blogs, and like that's how he would see like who's up next, and then be like that's how he first started hearing about like Migos and like. Most of the Atlanta dudes, obviously. Yeah. But Yachty, like you guys had the power.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun. It was fun to discover and see where some of these artists that, kind of came through the Fake Shore Drive, from Chance the Rapper to Little Durk to Lucky.
Yeah, that's your pipeline, 100%.
Saba, Lil G Herbo, all these people. So it's been a fun experience for sure.
Do you like where hip hop media is right now in 2022?
Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's more social media now.
Right.
I mean, I think eventually what happened was, and I see a lot of people dissing the blog era now. Like a lot of people, I've seen it.
No,
really? Some people, because like I think there's been a couple articles that have come out saying like rap is losing its dominance or whatever, and so people are like, you're fetishizing about the blog era, and the blog era sucked, and it wasn't as cool.
It's like rose-colored lenses, like it actually wasn't that tight. That's crazy.
I mean, I guess as outsiders, like what we see is like nostalgia for that era. Almost.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is, and it's like every era has nostalgia, right? And it was a fun time. We got to move forward. Like I'm always like eager to move forward, but I love to look back because it's fun to look back and study and analyze those things. But the blog era was a fun time, but then Spotify and DSPs, Apple Music, everything. It just came and crushed the buildings because the blogs were breaking music, and that was a place that you could have exclusives and find music first. So once everybody just started streamlining their releases and you had stuff dropping on Thursday nights, there was really no need for it anymore.
Do you feel like you're one of the dudes that like made it out? Because like I'm sure all those guys that we mentioned are like doing well, but I feel like of all the dudes that we just named, like you still have this presence that is very much like you're a guy. Where like I don't know, do you feel like you like made it out to some degree
out the blog trenches?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Right?
I mean, I don't want to because I think a lot of those people are still doing great things, and I'm not knocking. All those people have gone on to do other things, maybe outside of like the blogging. Yeah. I'm just happy to still be here and like people still care about it.
What does moving forward look like for Fake Shore Drive? What does that mean?
Just
you got the radio show, right?
Yeah. We're working with Amazon on their new AMP app right now. So we just got picked up for a series on there that's going on right now. I still do playlisting for Apple. Right. Still have the show every Sunday night on Shade 45 on Sirius XM. Manage Valet still. Got a number of other things. It's like I got how it is. Like you got to have like 10 different hustles for one salary. And
there's other spinning plates in the air.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do a lot to be an independent person. Like, I don't work for, a company or like I don't have like a full time job, so like I have to have a bunch of different jobs to keep it moving. You got to hustle.
No healthcare.
I mean, I'm married. I got a wife, so she works.
Shout out all the wives of the 1099 boys, like holding it down so we don't fucking die. Dude.
Damn, I need to get married.
Yeah, you do need to get married, dog.
Is there a singular memory that like when you think about the blog era? Let's get nostalgic for a second. Like when you look back upon what was, like what's the one memory that really stands out to you that like is so emblematic of that time? Is it going to like cool kids concerts and like seeing fucking
Every
blitzers,
shade,
what were they called?
color, and creed.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was cool to, Twista got me a birthday cake actually.
Oh shit.
That may not be the answer you were looking for.
No, it is.
But that's when I felt.
That's exactly what we were fishing for.
That's a moment where I felt like, okay, like
kind of cake?
I've arrived because I grew up like I love Twista. He's like I love Twista. One of my favorite. Made some of my favorite music. He got me a birthday cake for one of my birthday. We had like a joint birthday party.
He's a ventriloquist, right?
He's also a ventriloquist. He's dope at it too. Have you seen him? He's crazy.
but he's
at it,
nice.
dude.
I've only seen you tweeting about it.
If you've seen me on the timeline, shout out to Twista, man. He's like a crazy artist too. He's like a very, very dope artist and
just a creative mind.
He's like a genius level thinker.
What kind of cake did he get you?
It was like a chocolate cake with white icing, and it had like the Fake Shore Drive logo on it.
Oh shit!
And
Fire.
it was a whole thing. And like
That's
the
sweet of him,
legendary
man.
Trackster there, who was like his producer and produced a lot of the classics in Chicago, like bought me a bottle of champagne. This is like 12, 13 years. So I was like, okay, I was still kind of starting off.
Were your perks crazy as like this like figurehead in the city?
Yeah. Definitely. I've had some good, I've been able to do some cool stuff and, basically meet everybody, all the
All your
rappers from
heroes.
Chicago. Not all of them. Like,
Right.
of course, there's some like artists and people that I've never met, but all of them from Chicago. Yeah.
Were artists trying to like pay you off for like positive blog
All the
write-ups
time.
and shit?
Yeah.
All the
How much
time.
how much bribery did
Yeah,
you
how much
accept?
pay-
Man,
did you
I
take?
bought a house. I got a Range Rover. No, dude, people used to accuse me of all kinds of stuff.
Oh, I'm
really?
sure.
Like people used to be like, man, I mean, that was like the number one thing would be like, yo, I just saw Barber riding around in a Bentley and I was definitely never riding it. I never had a Bentley. The people would
I
make
saw
up.
Barber in a Bentley.
It was a Chrysler 3000.
Yeah, like people would be like, man, I saw him in a Maybach or something like that. It'd be like, man, you must be living. Like people would text me like, man, if somebody saw you riding around, you must be eating
shit.
good off those blog posts. And I'm like, nah, bro. Like,
So you're going on record, you never took any payola.
no, hell no. For a blog post, I never took a dime for a blog post ever.
Who was? I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know if you want to like expose anyone, but like, who is maybe like a big artist that you were surprised was like trying to like buy your fucking fealty?
None of the big ones. It was
Okay.
more like
Small guys.
Like up and comers,
D-boys, people that had like a lot of money that
Yeah.
were trying to like buy their way.
that
in.
sucked at making rap music.
That
so.
just were not good. And I'd be like, dude, it messes up my credibility.
Oh, 100%.
because like the first thing that's going to happen, like, if somebody gives you some money to do some stuff like that, they kind of feel like they own you. In
Right,
a way.
right.
So it's like
in the pocket.
they're in your pocket. So it's like, even down the line, you don't want to post this person. They're like, remember like 5 years ago, I gave you like $1,000, dude.
Yeah.
You owe me. I got a new artist, and it just like it just would never end.
That's why
And, like,
Lawrence can never talk shit about J. Crew.
Hey, this isn't a podcast about me, Jim.
Did people ever press you though? Like were they like, yo, like step to
I
me?
got
Like,
I got pressed. Nothing like it never got to the point of like where I feared for
Okay.
like my
Your
life.
safety.
But I definitely had some heated or not heated moments.
Just like
But
people being like, why are you not showing me love and like getting in your face?
I did a complex list once, like top 50
By
Chicago
the way,
reps.
we all have.
Yeah, right. I've done a number of them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
except the fashion designers in my DMs weren't quite as scary as what I'm sure your DMs were.
right.
looking
But
like.
I'm sure you all had you probably would go to an event and somebody might be looking at you crazy from
Sure.
across the room, and they're
Yeah.
like, they know exactly
Mega
who
from
you
Black Scale was fucking threatening me in Twitter DMs.
are. Dude.
But so the complex was like best of the year. Like,
It was a
best
top
ever?
50 Chicago rap songs.
Oh,
and I was
okay.
literally
Damn.
like down the block from here. We were at a Twisted video shoot.
What was number one?
Common, I used to love her,
Okay.
which I
Classic.
think is a significant rap song. But this was like, again, this was 13, 14 years ago, probably. Noah gave me my first.
And shout out NCB, the boy.
Yeah, NCB, the homie, who hooked this up,
Also-
right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he put us. Yeah. So he gave me a shot to like that was like my first like big thing I wrote ever for Complex, and some people were mad that they were left on
People
the
were
list.
heated.
And the person that pressed me, they were right. I was wrong. I made
Oh,
a
you had
mistake.
like a little. It was a fuck up on your part. Like, oh damn, that would have been.
I was like, you know
That's
what,
like
you're
49.
right. And then I had a chance to redo it, like after like the Chief Keef and
Oh sure.
explosion.
After
And so I
drill.
made sure I went back in a minute, and I apologize. I fucked up. I should have put it on there, but
But you didn't have like Wale being like, get security
no, no.
to Incinal.
I never had an issue like
Oh, that's
that.
right, he had
Knock, on,
big
you know,
beef.
knock on wood. But I approach stuff like, I'm not like I'm not a tough guy. I'm not a street
Right.
dude or anything like that.
Right.
So if it's usually stuff that can just be hashed out in a conversation
For sure.
for the most part.
Let's be honest though. Have you ever tried to rap,
No, never,
Andrew?
never.
Not even at home in the mirror in the
You didn't keep a
bathroom.
notebook like
I
in
mean,
high
come
school or
on, you
anything?
might get, you might freestyle at a party when you're 19 or something like that.
Yo,
Right.
if
Thank God
anyone,
camera phones didn't exist.
if anyone
you
can
actually-
surface this video, please.
You know what I mean? Like I might have drank 20 Natty Lights and freestyled at a party in college.
Yo,
but,
Natty Light freestyle.
Drinking Natty Light. My fit is tight.
I never went to the studio and try to lay a song or try to like write. I just, I'm old enough that like back then you had to like go to a studio and have like a real engineer and like, you know what I mean? Like you couldn't just rap on your laptop. And then by that, by the point,
cloud rap.
yeah, right. And I'm just, I was always more fascinated by like the behind the scenes.
For sure.
And I think my dream was always like be an A&R or an executive at a label. And then once I kind of saw how that went, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. That's not
Are you living your dream right now?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I think you can't ever, you never really want to say you're living your dream because there's always more to do.
Of course.
I always feel like I have more to do.
Yeah.
It's, it's a chase, right? Like
You're in the
never
range.
wanna
You got to
be-
get the Maybach.
Yeah, right.
I got to.
We saw him in the Bentley. We need to see him in the Maybach.
I need to sell some more blog posts. So I can, so I can get that Bentley, baby.
Well, look, if that video of you gone off 20 natties ever surfaces, it'll break fucking Twitter.
Yeah, I'm gonna premiere. I'm gonna premiere it.
Hell yeah, an
on
exclusive.
the podcast.
You love resurfacing and sharing these like incredible old videos from like performances, freestyles, like The Basement, other TV shows. What's the one video that you think you've gone back to again and again and watched the most times?
Ooh.
I know what it is for me.
Oh, I know. I
What
can
is
answer this. Cameron doing cartwheels on Rap City.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
With
Is
Jim
that-
Jones
is
with the one-hander.
Is that the one that you were gonna say too?
I was going to say Cameron performing at the Apollo with Opera Steve.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Classic,
yeah.
dude.
Killer Cam.
See, a lot of times I'll
Killer,
find
killer.
and sometimes I'll find these videos and then like other
Shout
people
out
will
Opera
see them
Steve.
and then they'll take them and then I
Oh, sure.
it's like it's not like I own the videos anyway.
No,
but,
of
like,
course.
Then they go. Somebody posts goes like once a week.
You're a walking DMCA, dude.
yeah, right. I know. I gotta stay low. But I got to shout out.
Raleigh's coming.
I got to shout out Ev Boogie. Up North Trips because he was the one that
dude.
really
Shout
kicked
out Ev, man.
Yeah, Ev's the homie. He really kicked down the doors for like the
anniversary post.
stuff and like
Yeah.
I always give him all the credit and I try to always piggyback off what
Yeah,
like
that's like that.
what he does.
Speaking of nostalgia, that like for me, and that's why I love Up North Trips and shout out Ev again. But like that's pure uncut, nostalgia straight to the veins for like this. And there's so many amazing anniversaries in hip hop that it's
Yeah.
like,
And it's like
good
crazy.
shit every day. Fly shit happened every day
Yeah.
in hip hop history.
every single day and people never
It's a
get
full-time
tired
job.
of it.
No.
And I think a lot of times people are like, man, it's too much nostalgia. People look back too much, but like,
Nah.
You got to celebrate. You got to celebrate
Yeah.
it. It's a pretty young art form.
right. And it's just a lot of fun stuff's happened that people
Of
have
course.
forgotten about.
What goes the most viral whenever you post it? Is it Jim Jones doing the one-handed cartwheel?
I mean, that goes like, I try not to post that like, cause some stuff I'll post like, every year, like on an anniversary or something. But like,
Yeah.
as far as Chicago content goes, like Kanye always will go,
Of course.
obviously. Lupe gets a good response. Chief Keef, maybe number one. Like,
Yeah.
people are thirsty for Chief Keef nostalgia right
The
now.
video of the original kid that got sampled. Like,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, yeah. I've
That
met
always
that kid
goes.
a few times.
Oh, yeah?
Nice
What's
kid.
he up to?
I don't know what he's doing now. I think he's still in the area.
Yeah.
I've seen him around. Like I'll see him at parties or I saw him at Lollapalooza one year.
What a
and, like,
legend, dude.
Why-
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just ignorant, but like, why was he so heated about like people talking shit about Keith's name?
Good
Talking
question.
sweet.
Talking sweet.
Good question. Dude, the Keith Mania in 2012 and that time was the
Nuts.
crazy.
Like
I've,
unmatched, right?
I've never seen anything like it. Still, to like in my career,
Right.
that is the most
From like an organic, true groundswell.
yes, just groundswell. Like it was not, and people be like, oh, like he was hyped up by blogs or YouTube, but it's like no, this was like real. This was a thing that was like bubbling,
Yeah.
and he was so polarizing. It's like people like a lot of people loved him, but even as many people hated him.
Right.
I think now looking back, a lot of people are like, oh
Why?
yeah,
Because it was like
you'll see
mumble
people,
rap.
I'll see people that were dissing Chief Keef on social media or on in articles or written pieces
How?
10 years ago that like are he's so
Was it-
influential.
was it-
now they'll say
Oh,
Was it
okay.
his,
Got it,
was
got
it
it,
his
yeah,
age
yeah.
and then the content of the music and like the hyper violence of drill? Like what was the
Yeah,
or
'cause
they're just
even-
like he's not nice.
I think like the drill's more violent now. I think a lot of that stuff is like way more violent now. Looking back, and I just think
But it was John because he was 16. So it's so or maybe was even young. How old was he?
was
16?
16.
16, yeah.
It was also, I think people were like, yo, mumble rap. Like, this is just mumble rap.
yeah, yeah.
and he kind of skipped steps in a way that like people hadn't really seen in the industry before. I feel like that was a turning point for the music industry in general. And like
Like an inflection point.
I think you could see before Chief Keef and after Chief Keef type of thing, right? Because artists
BCK
kind of before that had to start up maybe going to open mics or performing at smaller venues and working their way up, paying dues.
Glad handing DJs, doing radio promos, that type of shit.
Like paying dues.
Yeah.
Brick by brick. And he didn't have to, he just jumped over everybody. It was like there was a whole line of people paying dues, trying to get on in the industry. And Keith just like jumps over all of them.
Because of the internet.
Yeah.
The internet.
I remember people being pissed about like his deal too. Because didn't he get like, what was the Interscope deal? It was like
it was worth $6 million, you know, and you know, I don't know
Crazy.
how that breaks out.
Right.
But
$60,000.
Yo, and he put out
in
a
his
classic.
pocket.
That's the other thing too. I feel like people like hated on Finally Rich a little bit, but it's like that's a perfect album.
Yeah,
like
front to
it's
back.
aged incredibly. Like
Front to back.
I agree.
Sicko, the best song that's ever been
Sicko was
recorded.
crazy.
I mean, I don't know. You tell me.
Dude. And think about the wave that started.
Yeah.
And there was so many hits on there. And it was just like, I feel like that kind of was like the litmus test for drill. And like after that, like didn't explode the way I think the labels thought it would, which I think is purely due to the metrics. They were still using the old metrics 10 years ago. So they were still basing it on CD sales and, you know, how many MP3s did you sell?
It low-key flopped, right? When it didn't go one for sure.
It didn't do it. But once they changed the metrics, now it's like Love Sosa's like 4 times platinum. Right. Everything, there's so many like, but it was just, they hadn't changed the metrics yet. Spotify was still like in its infancy, or even, I don't even know if it was around really. You still had to like be invited by, remember you had to like have an email to be invited to join Spotify all the way back then? I don't know if you remember those days or not. It was dark ages, but it wasn't like a huge hit. So I think the industry kind of backed away from drill. Like, oh, this has got a dark cloud over it.
Yeah.
We're going to move away. And then it went basically went to the dark web.
Yeah.
And like lived on in a major way. And then it exploded in other markets.
And now it's the global drill diaspora, right? It's like, you know, with UK drill and fucking everything.
Yeah. NYC.
Let's settle this once and for all.
Ooh.
Andrew Barber.
Okay.
Top 5 dead or alive. Your personal top 5.
Ooh.
This
Rap?
isn't like, rap.
Oh my gosh, I can't do that. Man, can we just like do Chicago?
Let's do Chicago.
Yeah,
Top
let's do
five.
Chicago. Lupe, Fiasco, of course, Twista, Common, Kanye, of course, and Chief Keef.
There it is. That's a solid fucking
I gotta
list, dude.
say,
Yeah.
and like I got to put like Valet close, like
Yeah. Right.
Valet, but I mean
honorary mention. I mean, that's talk about nepotism, dude.
yeah. So that doesn't really count. But like, you know, I just think like if there's 4 people on Mount Rushmore, right? So like, but I think you got to do that based on generations, because
Absolutely.
you know, Chance and there's
shit.
There's a lot of people that it's hard to pick 5, but I would say those are my 5.
Once and for all, though, who is the GOAT, the singular GOAT of all of hip hop?
Had to probably Hove.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's an easy
That's
one.
like the
That's
right
like the
consensus,
quote unquote
right?
right answer.
Yeah.
I just think he's had the longest career. He's been able to like really hold on and be influential, and still like he can still do stuff. I mean, my favorite like of all time would be Tupac, right?
Okay.
But like obviously he's been gone for so long that it's like even thinking back, it's like, dude, that even it feels like it's so long ago. It's like, did that even happen? Right. I mean, obviously it did, but it's like, dude, this is so feels like ancient times.
Is
right?
that who you grew up on?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. But like as far as like longevity and like all the intent, like I got to give that to Ho for sure.
Have you ever met him?
I've been around him. I never met him.
Okay.
I was around him a couple times at the Watch the Throne tours.
Oh
I
shit.
saw him in the Chicago one. Like him and Beyonce were like there was like an after party at like the United Center. There's like a bar, like a VIP bar, and like there was like a private party in there that was catered by Harold's and Harold's Chicken and Garrett's Popcorn. And I saw him, but it's like you don't want to like walk up and like
I don't even know how do you approach
him?
the GOAT? Yeah.
And then I saw him like Watch the Throne in LA, and they were like walking around with like Stevie Wonder. And I can't really. I've never had an opportunity to meet him, and like I've never been in a space where I could like.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. You're hanging out with Stevie Wonder, but like I'm Andrew Barber. Nice
I'm sure you really want to meet the guy from the blog Fake Shore Drive.
How many times did they play Ninjas in Paris?
Here I think it was like 7 or 9. I used to know that answer.
How was it? I think we were there when they set. Were we there when they set the record?
So we saw him
at the Izod Center in New
Newark.
Jersey.
Wow.
And they had set the record there, but they ultimately did the record in Paris. I know this. I looked it up
It's
recently.
like 13 or 11.
No, it's like 23, dude.
No.
That's insane. That's
Why would they? No.
They
That's
did it
too
because
much.
it became a bit
Yeah.
on tour.
All right.
But
they
it,
leaned into
that was
it.
a good bit, though.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Only like that's the only thing that the Throne could pull off.
Great
It's
Chief Keef
absurd.
moment when they flew to Paris to work on Yeezus. Then he's like, "Yo, we flew back because we didn't like the food."
Oh,
That's
yo.
one. Whenever I post that always goes. That always goes viral. He didn't like the food, so he bounced.
Yeah,
He was
King
there
Louis
for-
though on Jesus.
Yeah, and shout out to King Louis. You know, I think he was really the one that kind of set off that whole wave of like the 2012. He was even like 2011. He was kind of like creating the sound, like the drill sound, and like even the term drill came from like his camp.
Oh, really?
From a guy named Pac-Man who was in. Pac-Man was actually signed with the LEP Bogus Boys. If you guys remember LEP Bogus Boys,
No.
group from Chicago, like 08, 09, started to get some traction. And then they eventually broke up, but he was like affiliated with them, and he's from this area called Drill City, and that's where drill actually the term drill actually came from.
That's a sick
Louis'
verse
camp.
too.
Drill City would be the hardest fucking return address thing to write on your envelope.
Yeah, right.
It was real when you made the news. That's all right. Real quick, Yeezus is this podcast favorite.
it's Drill
Kanye
City,
record?
Drill City, not
Okay.
Drill City.
Got it.
Do you are you a Yeezus fan? That's our favorite Kanye front to
Is
back
it
project.
Is it? Yeah,
It's one
I've heard
thing we agree on. We
You
don't
guys
agree on
always
anything.
wax, but why do you guys like Yeezus so much?
It's fucking
definitely not
perfect.
my. It's definitely not my.
Oh, really? Because
What's
it's
your
so
hell
lean
no?
and mean.
What's your number
you're like
one?
a late registration, motherfucker. Old head.
College dropout.
Okay.
I'm a college dropout guy.
Okay. All right.
I
Not
love
Jesus
college
King.
dropout.
Yeah. What's been the Fake Shore Drive cosign you've gotten that really like meant the most to you? Because you must get the. I mean, Lupe is like always tweeting.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
especially
no,
when he
Lupe-
celebrated the 15-year anniversary. Like the quote tweets are going
That's your
crazy.
guy.
Yeah, dude. Always like I just anytime the fact that I can like text Lupe and we're cool and like friends.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's so cool to me. I think he's like, as far as like rapping goes, I think he's probably like, you'd be hard pressed to name a better like pound for pound rapper.
Just in
than
terms
him.
of bars.
Just in terms of complete bars. Like he's insane.
Do you think he's underrated?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think people now kind of understand that like how skilled and how dope he is.
Right.
But I think in terms of like, dude, he did a lot of. I mean, he's got plaques to prove what.
Sure.
And I remember like his stands. He had crazy fans.
Yeah.
Like he had like stands. He had like a whole thing, and I think he still does.
Lupe lads.
But he has like classic projects, but like I feel like people don't talk about him in the same breath. Like, and even like a thing like, in no shots to Kid Cudi, he's gonna catch it straight here, but like, and I obviously understand that there's like influence from like fashion and other stuff, but it's like, why don't people celebrate Lupe like they celebrate like Cudi? To me, it's like,
No, I agree.
Is he
I
stopped
agree
putting out music?
totally.
I don't know.
yeah,
I think maybe because Lupe just he figured out the industry, he got tired of it, and he kind of backed away. He kind of decided like, okay, I'm gonna still put out music, but I'm gonna make like off the wall, really deep concept,
right.
high level stuff that maybe not everybody's gonna get into. And also he had an
A little
issue.
nerdy.
He's got caught in a label.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
had
yeah.
a label issue, and Atlantic, and that whole thing fell apart. But I just don't think he wanted to play the game. Some artists like to play the game and will continue. And I don't know what Cudi's situation is. I don't know like how it is for him to maneuver his label and things
Right,
like that.
right.
But like, yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you on that. I think
Okay.
he should be more. He should be higher rated. But that's why we're here to let
Right.
people know.
To give him his flowers, dude.
To give him his flowers. So I mean, that was a cool cosign, and just I've been blessed to meet a lot of really cool people that I listen. Like it's just cool to be in this position. I would say for sure.
Who's someone you haven't met that you would love to? Like if you could snap your fingers, is it Hove or is there like someone more personal maybe? Or I don't know.
No, I would say that would be somebody
Yeah.
that I would. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
That's an easy one.
Has your name or your actual name or Fake Shore Drive ever been dropped in a lyric?
Yeah, for sure.
Who did it? Who said it? Was it a bar?
Chance has said it in a song. Logic said it probably the most recently. Freddie
Oh, really?
Gibbs. Freddie Gibbs.
Freddie Gibbs?
Shout out to Gibbs. I got to shout out Gibbs. Gibbs is my guy too. He's from
Big
Gary,
Rabbit.
right down the street. I've known him for like 15. I knew him like since like year one of Fake Shore Drive.
Oh, damn.
I did his first interview with him in Chicago. So that's cool. I'm super happy for all his success.
Yeah, that
Um,
resurgence has been fucking nice.
oh,
As
dude,
like
I'm
because
so
he's
happy.
been underrated for a long time too.
When the
but now-
Logic song dropped, were you like, oh fuck? Was it the song about suicide?
keep my
prevention?
name out your mouth.
It was on like his last Def Jam album. Like it was like on one of the final songs on it. He was like, I remember reading Fake Shore Drive.
Okay.
Da, 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 da.
You're like, God damn it.
What was the Gibbs bar?
Known in the Shy, Fake Shore Drive, Andrew Barber, something like that.
Ooh, hell yeah, dude.
And Lupe said, what did Lupe said? Just because Andrew's a barber don't mean he's giving haircuts.
There
He
you
said
go.
that.
There you go. He got one off.
That could be a Throwing Fits intro.
Chance,
for real.
And Chance said, so there's been a number of them, but those are like probably
That's
the
so
three.
sick.
That's
dude.
awesome.
Yeah,
So
that's the
cool.
highest compliment, right?
Your name rings out on Genius.
Yeah, baby. It's on there, and it's like people arguing about who's this guy. Because like they it's like some kid like misunderstood the
Sure,
of
course.
didn't get the Lupe one about the haircut.
Yeah.
And then somebody's like, let's Andrew Barber for Fake Short Drive.
That's like the Jay-Z, the triple and Andre. It's like, oh, yo, he's dissing Andre. It's like triple entendre, dog. Relax.
Come on, man. Relax. All right. Everybody, let's just take a step back.
Yeah, dude. All right. Shout out the moderators wherever you are.
I think that you probably have interviewed like I can't even like countless artists, but who's your dream artist to interview that you haven't yet done it with?
And we can't answer ho for all of these.
No, dude, I can't. Like, you guys are like backing me into a corner where I got to answer.
Okay, you can say a few. Just a podcast.
Yeah, just we can manifest.
You know who I would like to interview? Pharrell.
Oh yeah, we just saw him. Well, we didn't like we were in the room with him because he did his auction in New York when he was.
Oh, that event looks super cool. The Jupiter thing.
Yeah.
yeah,
or whatever.
and we
Looks so
talked
sick.
about this a bit on the show, but the room was crazy because you had Slick Rick, Tyler, Push, fucking Pharrell, obviously, and a bunch of fashion people. Is crazy.
I would love to interview Tyler too. Tyler and I talk sometimes like on Twitter and stuff. Like, I would love to interview.
Was he a
Tyler.
reader of Fake Short Drive? Was he like part of that, or is he a little young?
He kind of came up, but we follow each other on Twitter and stuff. So like, dude, he's like he's a real student.
He's a historian for sure.
He's a nerd.
He'll like
Music nerd.
We talk about like music stuff. Like he'll ask like, what was this? You know, put me onto this or
Yeah.
And I ask like, I'm a super. I think Tyler's so dope.
Yeah,
and,
he's
like,
fire.
You know, I really enjoy his interview, like his stuff he does with Nardwar. Like when they were in that shop, I think it was in Canada or I don't
Yeah.
where they had all those it's a recent the most recent one. And like I would love to just
Like all
really
the old double
sit-
XLs and everything. Yeah.
I would love to really sit and talk
Like nerd the fuck out.
just nerd. Because I feel like he's like super. I'm a fucking nerd at the end of the day.
Sure.
Like a music
We all
nerd.
are.
We all are, right? I mean, that's why we're doing this.
I mean, let's be real. If you've listened to 40 minutes of this, you can establish.
you know what it is.
Like you get it.
You know what the fuck going on?
You know what it is. You know the vibes. But I would really like to sit and talk music with Tyler. So Tyler, if you're listening, let's do it.
And I'm sure Pharrell has that, like, obviously that fucking brain, that
Yeah.
nerd brain, but like, is it the same thing? You just want to nerd out with Pharrell?
Yeah, and I'm just like I love the Neptunes. They're probably my favorite producers of all time. Of course, I would love to interview like Dr. Dre. I've interviewed Snoop. Snoop was one of my favorite.
Sick.
Snoop's one of my favorite rappers of all time for sure. Just
Did he live up to the hype?
yeah, he was super cool.
Just like
Did you hit the blunt?
Yeah.
No, we were at the Hard Rock Hotel here in Chicago, and it was one of those things where I did it for this Ideas Week, which is like a Chicago thing. They're like, we need somebody to interview Snoop. You're like the first person we thought of. Would
Sick.
you want to interview Snoop? And I'm like, of course.
Say, I'll do it for free.
And I don't know if you guys remember this. He had this Broadway show a few years ago. It was like an off Broadway type of show.
What doesn't Snoop do?
Dude, he does everything, right? So
Wait, what was the show about? What is it like?
I can't remember what it was.
It's like a musical?
It was like a music. It was like that type of thing. It
That's
was
crazy,
ridiculous.
dude.
That's awesome.
And he was here doing that. And so he did like an hour or 2 hours of interviews, and it was like 15-minute intervals. So they're like, all right, you only have 15 minutes with Snoop Dogg. And I only had like a few hours to prep. So like what?
Trial by
Of course
fire.
so I'm like, let me think about how I can condense, 30 years of listening to Snoop Dogg into a 15-minute conversation. And we really hit it off. And so we talked for like an hour. We ended up
hell
talking.
yeah, dude.
So all these other people were like waiting, and we're like nerding out over, East Side is deep cuts and things like that. So that was cool, man. That was definitely, that was probably an artist that like, man, when I met Snoop Dogg, I was like, this is pretty fucking cool.
Legendary.
Yeah.
Who's your like the journalists you look up to the most in hip hop?
Oh man.
Because of social media, you guys have almost become your own, not almost, you guys have become like figures in this world.
100%.
Man, people that love NCB,
Yeah.
man, I think he's such a legend too himself, like all the stuff that he's done and like
The Kanye Dark Twisted Fantasy
Yeah.
shit was that.
Shout
one
out
of the best.
all the managing editors that had to get NCB to hit deadline because they're the real MVPs.
real MVPs. Because like, dude, I love when he drops his little gems of like when he flexes, because he can like really flex on people. Like
He's got bylines for sure.
We were just talking about, he was texting, I'm on a group chat with some other Def Jam and Complex people, and he was telling us about when he was at Eminem's 30th birthday party, ended up at like in like a not very good neighborhood at 3 a.m. in Detroit. And like, I think there was spaghetti involved as well.
Mom spaghetti.
Yeah, exactly.
Mom spaghetti. So like, dude, he's He's done a lot of cool. Elliot Wilson is another one, man. Super longevity.
Legend.
You know, I grew up reading Double XL, and like I had a lot. Like I was like, this would be a cool career path to do. So shout out to them. I think like, you know, currently I really love Jeff Wise's writing. Paul Thompson,
Jeff is so nice with the pen, bro.
Yeah, dude, they're great, man.
What's your media diet in this day and age? Is it like Twitter and social media, or like where do like, all right, someone at home wants to like read about hip hop and get put on, like what is there now? Like
there's not so much.
Right?
Like, I think Passion of the Wise does a good, a
Still
really
kicking.
good job of like covering obscure rap that not everybody else is covering. I'm glad that so many people have been pushed out of like doing journalism because nobody wants to read anymore, right? Everything's on YouTube, or like Spotify, or like it's podcast world, right? So it's like people would rather listen to people talk than actually read.
Damn, we're the problem. Fuck.
You guys have ruined everything. What the fuck is wrong?
We ruined hip hop.
We killed it, dude.
Hip hop is dead.
Yeah.
You killed it, like the Nas song.
Wait, so then what are some fire hip hop podcasts? Like, I mean, obviously besides your own radio show and shit, like,
hey, thank you.
of course. We gotta get the plugs in.
I like Matt Hoffa's podcast.
Okay.
I don't know if you've been watching that. Like, he's had some really expert opinion. He's had some like really good, like he had Young Guru on recently. He's had 21 Savage on, Clark Kent. He's had like a lot of really good people on. I love that.
Who's that?
There's this dude named Art of Dialogue. Who's
Art of
dope.
Dialogue?
Yeah, who interviews like all the old like Death Row, Tupac. He gets all like the good, like
Sick.
you like old like Death Row era stories. He has good ones. Let's see who else is good.
Who's that? The one that everybody kind of fucking clowns on. Fantano.
Anthony,
I watch Fantano sometimes,
but he's a critic, right? He's not
critic.
like, it's a bit different, you know?
Yeah, I think Fantano could be fun. A lot of people.
The needle drop is Anthony.
The needle drop.
Yeah.
But
Because he reviews and listens to everything.
Yeah.
And like the newest shit too.
Yeah. I think Drink Champs is good. Sometimes it's a little long. Sometimes like it's like a 4-hour PD Crack interview. It's like, God damn. I gotta raise my kid. Yeah. I mean, I'm listening because like the only way that you could get through and listen to all because there's so many podcasts drunk. I just do time and a half. I'm like 1.5 speed listening to everything. So like when I listen to you guys, I'm listening to 1.5. So you guys
that's like there's a certain podcast listener that does 1.5. And like, I think for our shit, I'm like, I don't know how you do it. Yeah. That's like, fuck.
You gotta be on point. I think it keeps me sharp.
Other people need to chop and screw us.
Yeah.
What
slow it down.
How do you discover new music in 2022? Like you specifically, is it like you talked about the YouTube algo and just kind of letting that run? And that's like the joke is that's how like A&R discover new artists. But like, how does Andrew Barber do it?
How does he?
You know, I still have shooters out there that that tell me like, yo, man, this is good. So sometimes people will put me on,
Word of mouth.
Sometimes I'll find stuff like on accident or just staying in tune to the Chicago scene and like staying, you know, you still got to keep your ear to the streets, even if I'm not like blogging every day per se anymore.
Right.
You still have to know who's up and coming in the city and elsewhere. And I think like,
what does that mean? Like going to shows, like going.
I'm not really going to shows like I used to. I mean, I go to stuff that I want to go to now.
Right.
Like back in the early days, I would go to everything. So like I was still working a full-time job. So like I would have to put on like a suit, dress shirt during the day, go to work. And then at night I would go to like any event, any kind of hip hop event, open mic.
In the suit?
In the suit, bro.
Darked out.
No, I would not go in the suit.
Come to work the next day, your suit smelled like fucking Dutch Masters.
Yeah,
like,
right. So I
Swishers.
Dutch Master Swishers. We were in the Swisher era then.
Okay.
So I would go, you know, I was like living a double life. You know what I mean? Like I was like blogging from my desk at work all day.
Hip hop Batman.
Yeah, right. It was basically I was fighting crime out here. But I you know, I'm not a person that will just like something based on the numbers. I mean, numbers are cool, but like I'm not like, oh, this is moving. Like now I'll have A&Rs from, you know, for years A&Rs would hit me from various labels and be like, what's this person's like, what's going on with them in the city? Are they popping? Is this real? Is this And eventually I just kind of like stopped answering. Like unless I was like really cool with them, like I'm not taking those calls because people try to get any information out of me. And for years people would like dangle the carrot, like
Gotta put a price on that.
Hey, if you can get Chief Keef to sign to XYZ, then we'll give you your own label. We'll give you an operating budget of $1 million and your own Cuban. Like, and none of that stuff ever happened.
Right.
Like, it was just all people will tell you whatever to try to get those artists.
Did you get burned on trying to pull strings for labels and shit? And then they were just like, sorry, like.
I think I got maybe burned on something, not like the Keith stuff, but like early on, like, hey man, make the intro here and I'll make you the intro to somebody at the label, and like give you an A&R job. I think you'd be really good. People would just say
whatever it took.
Just whatever it took to try to. And I caught on to that pretty early.
I mean, the amount of horse shit in the music industry is like unparalleled.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's the most. It's like I do not. People tell me stuff all the time. I do not, until that money is in my account, I do not believe it's real.
Right.
Like, hey, we got opportunity for you to do this, this, and
great
this.
exposure for fake short.
Yeah,
drive.
great exposure. It's like, bro, I'm off the.
I'm exposed,
Hey, look,
motherfucker.
I'm not opposed to turning down doing something for free. Like if there's something like makes sense that I really want to do, I'll fucking do it. Even if there's no budget, but that's very
sense
few.
or sense. Yeah,
Right.
I get it.
It's very few and far between because sometimes it's like,
Did you ever have an imprint or anything, or like, did you ever have anyone sign to you?
no.
Is that something that you like really considered or still like think about?
I've thought of it, and so I've always toyed with the idea of doing like a fake short drive records.
Right.
But a wise man, and I won't put him on blast,
Okay.
was once told me, who does every artist hate?
The label.
The label.
Thank you, Rick Rubin.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah.
Actually, there's no ID that told me that.
Okay.
Okay.
And like, who do artists love?
Yeah.
Their managers.
Sure.
So he was like,
okay. All right.
So he was like, maybe you should try management. Because I was just, sometimes I'll go to, No ID for advice, and we've had a lot of talks over the years. And like, he's really the
He's
sensei of
Yoda?
this.
He's
Yeah,
like-
that was his nickname was Young Yoda. Like he's
shit.
for real. Like he
nailed
is
it.
for real, like the Yoda of Chicago. Even though
Right,
he's
right.
in LA now, but like, I've interviewed him a number of times, like long form interviews, and we've had a lot of talks. And like he gives me game, like more so than probably like anybody else in the industry has given me. Like I've never had a mentor, so to speak, but like that's somebody that I can always go to for advice or whatever.
Do you have mentees? Do you mentor people?
I will mentor. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I will
Okay.
always mentor people.
All right. You heard it here first. Hit up Andrew in the DMs.
Yeah, I mean,
put me on.
look, man, I think you have to pay it forward,
Oh, sure.
right? You have to pay it forward, and
That's karma, baby.
yeah, and it's just like, dude, nobody helped me, and it's like even now, like people ask me for advice, and like I'm like, young artists ask me like, what can I do to get on? How do I? And it's like I don't have an answer for you anymore
Right.
because I don't have. How do you get on it? Pray to go
Someone
viral.
Tell me.
Right? It's like you pray to go viral now. Like you got to.
Andrew Barber out here doing TikTok dances.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's
I'm
what
not doing.
this is what
TikTok.
Jid was just tweeting about. I think he deleted it, and we've talked about
Who
this a
did?
bit, but Jid, where he was like,
Oh, Jid. Okay.
he was like,
you said Jin. Like
no,
Rough Riders.
The Chinese rapper, the Rough
no,
Riders.
no,
you
no,
know?
no.
Look at your chip. They say made in China.
Oh man,
Nah,
he was
Jin-
killing it.
the
Freestyle
goat.
Friday.
Yeah,
Shout out
but
to
no,
Jin.
but Jid was tweeting about how like he's like everyone. The only advice that people are because his thing is getting a lot of critical love, but like I guess his sales aren't there, and people like him. Like he's like in that like even like a Kendrick vein, but he doesn't have like the commercial element yet, at least. And he was saying that's just people be like, yo, go viral on TikTok. That's like it. That's all.
That's the marketing plan.
That's
now.
like all that. That's the only piece of advice that people have, which is crazy that we're at this point.
And I can attest to being in meetings where they're like, let's just do a TikTok challenge and like make them go viral.
Or yeah,
It's
just
like,
get it to become a sound or whatever the fuck.
dude, that's
fuck?
what at the Def
Although
Jam
Womp
tail
Womp,
end.
Womp Womp has viral written all over it
But it did go viral, and it went viral without like
several
Dude,
times.
The funniest thing was with Def Jam was like, my brother was the one that told me that it went viral on TikTok. He's like, yo, dude, Womp Womp's like killing it on TikTok right now. And I'm like, what? TikTok was still new. I'm like, what's going on with TikTok? He's like, dude, there's like a million videos of people doing like this. It didn't have anything to do with the song. It was just like they were saying like Womp Womp, like crying.
Oh, yeah.
Type of challenge. And it actually pushed the record to gold. Like that's fire. That's what it gave it. It kept giving the record a second life. But I brought it to somebody at Def Jam, and they had no idea what TikTok was. And then the person tried to take credit for it.
Oh,
like
no, of course.
They like, oh yeah, my daughter, I discovered this late last night on TikTok, and like,
I know who you're talking about.
you know what I'm talking about. Right? We won't say his name, but you know who it is. Yeah. But
You know who you are, motherfucker.
you know who you are.
Big dork.
Oh, come the biggest.
But do you think TikTok is good for music or bad for music? Because once people get a taste where it's like, oh shit, all we got to do is go viral and we move streams because those now count towards streams and we got a gold record on our hands. Now they want, that's like Jid said, like Lawrence was saying, like that's the entire marketing plan.
That's it.
So I'm living with like test subjects right now. My kids are of age. They look they're very young. They're young, but like,
they're on
TikTok.
That's what you're saying.
It's like once they get a whiff of TikTok, they cannot put it down. It is like the ultimate. It does something to your brain, right? It's like they can't.
It poisons it.
Look, kids' YouTube is no longer enough.
Right.
Once it's like it opens up a whole thing.
Are they watching like isn't the big thing with kids like they watch like toy unboxings like
they
other
were.
kids?
They graduated to like
To Womp
watching
Womp.
pranks.
to the Womp Womp challenge.
They're doing the Womp Womp challenge, right? But they've graduated to like So like they know songs and stuff before even I do now.
That's crazy.
Do they put you on?
Yes.
They're
like, Daddy, you don't know this song? Like they're singing along to stuff on like the radio, like that I don't know. Like they know old school stuff.
What's the No Stylist one now?
Yeah.
Like that's
No stylist.
No.
Sensual or sexual seduction is like viral on TikTok.
Oh, really?
And so she knows that. So I'm gonna take my 8-year-old's like singing that. I'm like,
Dad, you ever heard of this band Fleetwood Mac? Bet you haven't, you fucking dork.
it's like, what the heck is going on? So like they know, it's like they kind of know because like I think one of the most recent things that was all over TikTok were these cactus plant toys at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And that's all that was on her timeline.
Yeah.
And she was like, Daddy, I think McDonald's is up to this. I think they're like paying people to do this. And I'm like, so kids could already sniff
Goes
that
all the way
shit
to
out.
goes all the way to the top.
Yeah.
Goes all the way to Ronald.
To Pharrell, dude.
But I knew that, okay, towards the end of working with Def Jam on the Valet stuff, it all went from, hey, we got to try to get on this playlist. We got to try to get on Rap Caviar or Most Necessary. And then it all became TikTok. The only plan.
Oh, you're
anything.
saying that right now Rap Caviar doesn't hold that weight.
No, you got to do. Yeah, no, it's absolutely.
Because Rap Caviar to me, I thought was like, that's the whole.
It's more that the marketing, like, again, once people get, like, because if you do go viral, it seems fucking easy, right? Like, and then you have a gold record on your hands. And so the marketing plan was always like, all right, like, let's think of how to go. It's virality versus like getting key placement on a key playlist.
Yeah. It's like
which are still very necessary and effective in like exposing a song, but the marketing departments of labels now are just like, yo, we got to go viral.
That's it. It's like that we're all the power lies in the viral moment.
Yeah.
So
is Valet, who you manage, is he the most interesting man in hip hop?
Absolutely. He's the most interesting person I've ever met in my life, I think.
This motherfucker builds custom aquariums. Like,
yeah, he put
his flow is crazy.
In
the craziest flow.
He's like 10 years ahead. Like in his new stuff that people really haven't heard, he's rapping in like Alien. Like,
really?
I can't even explain. His flow is just, and it's like people aren't ready.
When can we
can you tease out anything?
Man, I'm ready to put out. I'm ready to put out stuff like right now.
Let's drop an exclusive on Thorn Fix.
We are out of the Def Jam Good Music situation.
Right.
So we are free
at last.
We are free at last to do, and shout out to them. No disrespect to.
No, yeah.
I appreciate everything they did, but like it's good. It's good to be independent. So like, we have a full project with Harry Fraud. And Harry was one of my favorite producers ever. Love Harry, great dude. We knocked that out over the summer.
Bro.
Still finishing some stuff up, but like hopefully that'll be out in the next couple of months.
Hell yeah.
See. This 2022 or early 23?
We'll see. But it's soon. But within the next.
Was he a guy that was just like straight up? But now, obviously, with hindsight being 2020, was just like not built to be like on a major. Like, was it always like this guy is an indie rapper? Or
I think like okay. And this is not a knock to the major labels at all. Like some artists are better suited.
They are who we thought they were.
They're better suited for an independent thing. Because like when you sign to a major, there's so much stuff that goes into it. There's so many hidden costs and hidden things that artists have to do, and like you kind of got to play the game.
Hidden fees like a bank, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, for real.
No, it's predatory. It's a predatory loan. It's predatory loaning. That's what it is. And some people are built for that, and some people are fucking not of this earth, which is Valet.
And he's an alien. He's an alien, dude. We'd go up in the Def Jam building, we'd be in the big office with all the executives, and like they'd be like, play some music. And he'd play music and they'd be bobbing their heads like off beat and shit. And he'd be like,
exactly.
He's like, we'd walk out, he'd be like, yo, why are we listening to these old white guys in the fucking tower? They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
He's like, they're saying that my stuff's not ready to come, like, because they didn't want to put out Womp Womp.
Damn.
We had to leak Womp Womp.
That's right.
Oh.
We had to leak. I leaked Womp Womp because the label wouldn't put it out. They're like, Jeremiah, nah. And I'm like, no, this is a record. Yeah. And other people at the label agreed, but they just didn't have the power to press a button on it. It's like, I think people realize you got to get like 10 people's approval before
a lot of red tape
ever comes out. Right. And then the song blew up, and it's like, yeah, we like this other weird stuff that Valet's doing, but we need another Womp Womp. So it's like, yo, you guys didn't even want to put this out. 6 months ago,
Womp Womp,
you were like, this record's never coming out. And
we're gonna do a Womp Womp remix with Charlie Puth and fucking Katy Perry and
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah. and so I think there was just like, if you want to be successful on a major, you got to play the major label game.
Sure. Yeah,
you got to do a lot of that.
You got to
You got to shake hands. You got to kiss babies. You got to be willing to do promo and do radio and be up and at them and shaking hands and moving around and you got to be on live. Like you're constantly post this, do this, do. I mean,
because like Vallejo has like a sick personality, but it's like I feel like that's just like
what. Let's talk about so like what makes him so interesting because like he just tinkers out in like he was like a former auto body shop in Indiana or some shit. He's like a carpenter. He's like a driver.
He does, dude. He builds like race cars.
Yeah.
The fuck?
He got like a airplane propeller and like hung it on his ceiling to make a ceiling fan. He put an aquarium in his wall. He built like,
he's a creator.
He builds stuff. Like he'll take a car apart.
It's a Renaissance
He'll
man.
take like a Hellcat apart and then build it back up the way that he wants to with all these custom features and, putting screens and TVs and,
Pit my ride shit.
I mean, dude, because like
we put an aquarium in the trunk.
He's like a real life Pimp My Ride dude, and he has like supercharged RC cars and mopeds. It's like a fun house. You go to his place and it's like, he's dropping a motor in. He's got like a crane in there and he's like putting a motor in. He's like redoing it. So he's just, his brain works differently. And it's like, he's really good at rap. And it's like, I don't know if like, I think he loves obviously making music, but he just likes to do other stuff and tinker. But that's kind of like why I wanted to work with him. Because when I heard the song Shell, we had been posting him, but it was mainly Ty. Shout out to Ty from Fake Shore Drive, who had been really posting his music for years. And then I heard Shell on accident one day. It was on like autoplay. And I heard it. And I'm like, dude, this is crazy. This is like the most eccentric.
Right. No,
it sounded like Easy-E. Like,
he is eccentric as shit.
And I called him. And our first conversation, like usually if I call like a rapper and I'm offering to help or wanting to work with him, they're like all over it. Like hey, when do we do that? And he's just
how do you go about just real quick? What is that elevator pitch like? Like, how do you?
I was just like, dude, I love your work.
I fuck with you if you whatever you need.
And obviously, it's like you want to talk to them first, right? Because people could be complete psychos, or they're annoying. You don't want to like, you got to be careful who you're getting in bed with, so to speak. And like we had this really long, like hour-long conversation. He was like, yo, man, at the end, he's like, yo, man, if you ever need like a bar or like any carpentry done at your house,
he's hit you with the Craigslist ad.
Yeah, he's like, yo, just let me know. I mean, he's like, I built my mom's like really nice custom bars. Like I built all kinds of stuff. Like I'm happy to come over. And I'm like, dude, I got to work with this guy. Nobody's ever offered to come do carpentry.
Fucking Bob the Builder, but a rapper.
But a rapper. And then I'm like, all right, well,
it's not Bob Ville, it's Bob Valet.
Yeah. That's a good one.
There it is.
So I'm like, dude, I'm going to LA. When I come back in town, let's like grab lunch or grab dinner and like just, talk more.
He was living in Chicago at the time.
Yeah. He still lives in Chicago. He still lives in Chicago. I called him when I came back and he didn't pick up. So I'm calling him again. He's never answering my phone.
He's tinkering in the lab.
I like send him a text, no response. I'm like, what the fuck? I thought we were going to go. I guess this guy didn't want to.
Yeah.
He's not interested in working with me or whatever. And then like a month later, I get a message from him on Twitter and it's like, hey man, I thought we were supposed to hook up, man. Just checking in on you. I'm like, yo, dude, I've been calling you. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, oh, my bad. He goes, I don't save any numbers in my phone. I memorize them.
What?
He's like, I memorize the numbers. He's like, it makes my brain smarter. So like, I can, like old school. He's like, remember back in the day, and he went on this whole thing. Remember back in the day when you used to go to like, you had to call friends.
Yeah, well, it's clearly not working. He fucking like, what the fuck? You missed her.
And he's like, okay, now I won't forget your number.
Oh,
and then
damn.
That was it.
Wow,
we were
that's hilarious.
Does he still not? If you called him, does it just show like numbers just show up on his phone?
I don't know but he has like 4 phones, so like I never know what. It's like I literally have to call 4 phones to get in touch with him.
I mean, Valet, I think is if I could choose to spend like a day with a rapper, like most of them it's going to be boring, right? You're just going to be like smoking on your phone, like maybe in the mall, whatever.
If you're lucky.
But Valet, like I would love, like he's the rapper you'd want to hang out with. But when it comes to partying, Andrew, who's the most fun party to rap? Sorry, who's the most fun rapper to party with?
Danny Brown.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
No question. Danny Brown is
he brings the party.
Dude. Every time I hang out with Danny, it's like my favorite time. It's so fun to hang out.
Can you keep up? I mean, he like get after it.
Yeah. I mean, I try to. Like I don't partake in everything, but
right.
He's you know what I mean?
He's a bottomless pit,
like
dude.
But like Zaloopers and Skywalker,
and Bruiser Brigade.
Skywalker.
Like, dude, Black Noise, all those dudes like are so fun to hang out with. So anytime, it's like the last time, I think one of the last times Danny was in Chicago was like a year ago, and he had a concert. He did like this Red Bull show with Rico Nasty. It was like a
nice.
It was like a battle, and afterwards we went out and we did karaoke till like 4 or 5 a.m.
That's awesome.
And we were in Chinatown at this random karaoke spot in the basement, and him and Skywalker are doing Love Sosa and
sick.
they're doing like
Were they killing it? Were they like
they were
crushing
killing.
it?
They were doing
Dude, I
NSYNC.
would love
They
to.
did. They did NSYNC.
Is that Backstreet or is that NSYNC?
I don't fucking.
Tearing up my
That's
heart.
either way. That's incredible. I think it's NSYNC.
I think it's Backstreet.
They were
Okay,
doing all
whatever.
that shit.
Fact
dude.
check us.
It was so.
What's your go-to
Fuck.
karaoke song?
Dude, I don't even do karaoke. I'm just like there for the ride.
That's amazing.
I didn't even perform. I was just hanging out.
Yeah.
Dude, I want to see Danny Brown do Love Sosa.
Yeah.
Sick.
Dart was there, and like Dana Meyerson, like, and then everybody got COVID after that because we had this like incredible partying night. But like, I went on tour with Danny.
Really?
I went on tour with Danny for a couple weeks, like 2014. I went out with Danny. I was managing Lucky, who was Lucky X at the time.
Okay.
And Lucky was an opener. It was like a Red Bull thing, and we went on the road. So I went on the road with the Bruisers for a few weeks. That
How
was
was that,
wild,
bro?
That was very wild.
Get bruised up?
Yeah, I got bruised up a little bit. So like I've had some experience in partying with Danny and the Bruisers.
Yeah.
For sure.
I can imagine that Danny is just the fucking. I mean, we partied with him a little bit, but then he's like, "Yo, you want to come out?" And we're both like, "Like we can't." Like
Because we know where this is going. Like I've seen
Yeah.
my future and I'm gonna die.
Yeah. You're like, man, let me be smart about this.
Yeah.
And
I think we had something to do the next day too. So
yeah,
it's
it fucking sucked.
we fucking blew it is the point.
you
dude.
blew it, but next time there's
And
always
just the
next time.
funniest dude too. So it's like not even partying, but just like hanging out. Like it's just he's
Guffaws aplenty.
yeah.
He's so funny, and also like his stories are crazy. Like he has the best stories
Oh,
because
dude.
he's like done so much stuff in the industry and he's been around everybody. So he has like really funny stories, and also like his music knowledge is crazy.
He is like a true music savant.
Yeah.
He can talk about E40 album cuts from '96 all the way to like.
He was talking to us about like fucking Korn and new metal and Incubus.
Yeah.
He was like,
also-
I'm on an Incubus.
But he
kick,
also does like
this.
he does like disco deep cuts. and
yeah,
shit.
he's
I was asking him about. I'm like, did you? Because he the night that he had the concert, he had a Korn cover band come
Fire.
out. So he
What?
performed "Freak on a Leash."
Oh my god.
With this Korn cover band from
He
Indiana.
performed "Freak on a Leash."
Yes, with this Korn cover band, and the Korn cover band was from Northern Indiana, and they all looked like the actual members of Korn.
Right.
So like when the band came out, everybody thought it was actually Korn, and he did "Freak on a Leash."
Some
and I'm
white
like,
guy with dreads.
I was like, "Yo, did you really listen to?" Because Danny and I are the same age, right? So it's like, did you really listen to Korn in like high school? And he was like, "Yeah, what the fuck you mean, Andrew? I listen to Korn." He's like so offended that I asked him that.
He said that he would listen to that while selling crack.
Yeah.
Like, that was his like crack selling soundtrack.
I'm like, damn, that's crazy. But
Did he? How was his
Yeah, the scatting, the Jonathan Davis
he
scatting.
killed it. I put a video up on my IG. It was a lot
Hell
of fun.
yes.
That was a super fun night.
Fuck yeah, dude. Who's the most famous person in your phone, Andrew? As the most plugged man in the Midwest?
Is it Lupe?
I had a Kanye number years ago. I don't. That certainly doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Like 4 or 5 years
right,
ago.
right.
Probably
Probably
good,
for
probably
the
a good
best.
thing.
I had Diddy.
What?
I had Diddy at
Wow,
one
bro.
point years ago.
That's
what
gas.
did you and Diddy text about?
Nothing. We never text. Like I don't text. Like if I get famous people's numbers, like I never
Right.
bother them.
Right.
How do you get Diddy's number?
He's collecting like
We went to a
Pokemon.
party at his house at Art Basel like 10 years ago.
Okay.
And he was trying to sign Trinidad James.
Oh,
And
you were with
I was
Trini?
with Trinidad James. This was like the most random thing ever. And I think he thought I was managing Trinidad. And so he was like, man, well, take
All
my
right,
number.
white guy with Trinidad James.
Yeah.
Get his number.
He was like, yo, take my number down. And like I just was like terrified. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna fucking text Diddy. So I never took advantage. I probably should have. Guaranteed that number doesn't work anymore.
so because you
I had
did-
Ludacris's number too once.
Oh, shit.
Yo, shout out Ludacris, my most famous Instagram follower. I don't know why.
Damn, does Luda follow you?
Which is crazy. And I think what happened was, remember when he did the verses with, who did he do his verses with?
Nelly.
Nelly. So I was riding for Team Luda. I think Luda's very underrated because
I
now
agree.
it's like the Chris Bridges, he was in Crash or
Yeah.
whatever.
Get a wild run in the 2000s.
Like Southern Fried Intro is like for me like an all timer. But
was just
so I
playing
think
that.
I was
I was just playing that.
weirdly just being like, all right, like I'm riding with. This is probably during COVID, nothing else going on. So I think I was just doing IG stories, and he must have seen it because it's like a blue check thing, and he just followed me.
Just gave you
But
that.
he hasn't unfollowed. He's still locked in, dude.
Sometimes you gotta look at your famous followers and see if they ever unfollow. Sometimes you get your heart broken.
I should try to book Luda on the pod. Actually,
Well, how was your heart broken? Who broke your heart when it came to unfollowing Fake Short Drive?
I think Diddy unfollowed me on Instagram.
Oh,
he followed me on
no,
Instagram.
dude.
He unfollowed me.
Damn.
Still follows me on Twitter though.
Oh,
Let's
all right.
not get on Twitter.
Oh well, because Twitter. I mean, you're an essential. This is the thing, right? If your bookmarks used to be right, Fake Short Drive, Cocaine Blunts, whatever that, and now it's like, yo, you got to follow you on Twitter. I mean, you have to.
I mean, Twitter's my bread and butter. Like I'm not super good on Instagram. Like I'm trying to get better.
Right.
Diddy doesn't
Instagram.
seem like a Twitter guy.
Who?
Diddy does not seem like a Twitter
I don't think
guy.
he used to be on. Like everybody.
Oh,
everyone
used to be.
Everybody now. Like,
Diddy used to tweet crazy.
He said everybody used to tweet crazy.
Yeah, make sure you scrub your history, kid.
Scrub it. Scrub it. Take a look.
Yo, what's the Selena Gomez IG that popped up where it's her and Keith and she's like, I love Sosa. And they're like kind of like canoodling a little bit.
I haven't seen
Selena
that
Gomez.
He has a bunch of those. He was tweeting at someone else.
Katy Perry?
The Katy Perry one.
Yeah, that's gotta be it. Yeah,
he fried
That's up
Katy
there.
Perry.
That's up there.
That's an all timer.
So who's the hottest artist in Chicago right now? Is it Valet or is it like bubbling? Not like, hasn't like necessarily broken yet or gone like crazy mainstream yet.
One that's probably getting a lot of buzz is PGF Nuck.
Okay.
I don't know if you know him. He's
a drill guy?
I would say, like who's, there's so many people. Like I'm excited to see who is coming next in Chicago. Like who's going to be, because obviously you have like, I would say like the biggest artist now and in Chicago is obviously like Lil Durk,
sure,
Polo G, G Herbo. Like Lucky just sold 22K first week, or maybe even more than that.
The kids love it. I have a lot of fashion kids love Lucky.
Love him.
They like the opium, like the weird Cardi shit, and then they love Lucky.
Lucky's huge. And like, I'm happy that he did. Because when I was working with him,
he had did he have a future feature on the
the new album.
He's like a guy.
And I worked with him like around 10 years ago. Found him really, like put him on the on Fake Shore Drive first. Yeah, for his first interview, like first all that stuff came through me. First show, all that. So I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see that he's been able to do it because he didn't want to play the industry game. And I think it was smart that he didn't. He never signed to a major.
Right.
Even though every major was trying to sign him.
I'm sure.
Jimmy Iovine's, people were calling me trying to sign him.
Wait, how old is
he? He's probably 26 now, 25,
right.
20. So he's still super young.
Yeah.
So he was like 16.
Well, that's the thing. The best game is Googling Chief Keef's age. Like, what?
Yeah.
Keef's still 26 or whatever?
Dude, it's crazy. And Lil Durk turned 30 yesterday. And I was like, that's crazy. I was like, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe he was 30. I'm like, dude, that's wild. So, but
you just want to see like who's going to be like who's going to break out.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're excited to just see.
I'm looking for that person to see who's like the next person that's really going to take it there. I don't have an answer for that.
Do you think Chicago is poised to kind of like, I don't know, maybe step to the forefront again in rap?
I hope. I think what's cool is like when 2012 happened, like 2012 was like the big year. Like that's a year that like
Keith,
Chance, Saba, G Herbo, Lil Durk, Lil Reese, King Louis, Tink, Sasha Go Hard, Katie Got Bands. It was like all
Katie
these.
Got Bands.
Yeah. Vic Mensa came as like he had been around.
Right, dude.
So like all these people, Mick Jenkins.
He was at the fucking Pharrell shit too.
Yeah.
Who was?
Vic Mensa just like walking around. Like just like aimling around, just like whatever.
And so it's like all these people, like this whole scene exploded like 2012, 2013. And I remember people saying to me, hey man, enjoy it. Like this is your Houston in 2005, which is really disrespectful to Houston. Like remember when like Still Tipping and all those, like,
dude.
all those dudes blew up. And I know you guys have had Paul Wall on the pod.
King, dude.
God.
Love Paul Wall. But like people are like,
nice.
that's going to be Chicago to be like a year, maybe two. And then you guys are going to fall off the face of the earth because nobody cares about Chicago. Like it's a flyover state. It's a consumer market, not a creative market.
Like despite Kanye having, because I guess he's like so one of a kind, but there was still people still being like, yo, it's a flash in the pan, basically.
It's a flash in the pan because this was like even 10 years, almost 10 years after Kanye blew up.
I guess you're right.
So it's like there's like these 10-year waves, right? So there was like,
okay, so we're right there.
Oh yeah, so are we
close.
back? We're poised.
Because like 95, 96, 97 is like Cultural Conflict, Do or Die, Twista's emergence, The Brat, like all that happens, and then like 10 years later is like Common.
Yay.
The resurgence of Kanye, the resurgence of Twista, Lupe emerges. Everybody from Bump J to Rhymefest.
Yep.
There's all that stuff happening. 10 years later, there's another. So like we're poised for another thing. But I think there's like, if you look at the streaming charts that they just put out, like there's like 3 Chicago artists in the top 10. Juice WRLD, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Durk,
True.
And Polo G is up there. And also like King Von was on that list, I think.
That's right, dude.
What's Chicago been like in the wake of his murder 2 years ago?
Real shit.
Vaughn?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really speak on. I'd met Vaughn. I've met him a few times. That happened in Atlanta. Like a lot of the artists don't live in Chicago anymore.
Right.
So it's like they
by
kinda,
design.
But that must have put a fucking damper on the
Yeah,
he was going.
He was going, and it sucked because he had so much talent. I mean, he was really good. He had everything. Like he had the look, he had the
charisma,
he had the charisma.
Bars.
His bars were good. Like he had all that. And it was just it's so unfortunate.
That was a brutal one for sure, dude.
That and the Juice WRLD one.
Yeah.
And I had spent a little bit of time with Juice. I didn't know him super well, but like he was just a kid, man.
Right.
He was like a young, full of life, energetic dude, and like him and Vlay had like 3 or 4 songs together that have leaked since. Some of them have leaked that we never actually got to formally put out, but it was cool that I got to meet those dudes before they passed on.
Absolutely, for sure.
Do you think that like the violence that's so endemic in drill and drill in general and specifically Chicago drill, do you think we're ever gonna like get past that, or is that just like the fact of life?
I don't know. I don't necessarily have an answer for that. I don't know. I don't think I think it's easy to like put like the drill, put people in the drill box now and like say that it's all dark cloud when maybe it's not, maybe it is, maybe it's not, but I don't have an answer for that. I hope so. I hope you never want that to happen because we're losing way too many artists. I think like people say rap's the most dangerous job. Obviously it's not, but like it is. Like I do feel bad for like young people that have lost so many like artists that they look up to over the past,
bro.
5 years. It's crazy. It's staggering, really.
Yeah.
Joe, going back to the Joe pod, he was like, yeah, like it's like hip hop. It's not hip hop. It's like America.
Yeah.
Like the gun violence,
bigger than
drugs,
just one
like,
genre.
And there's more rappers than ever. It's like you look, you go back 20 years. It was very controlled. Like there was steps. Like you didn't know. There's a lot of people that rapped and maybe were like locally kind of famous, but like you never knew them outside. So like, and those people could have been, who knows what was going on at the time. But like now, there's like anybody can be a rapper. Like you can be a rapper. Today we could all decide we want after we
all we need is 20 Natty Lights and we're on and
then we need 20 Natty Lights and we drop an album today. Like we drop an album today. We could technically
we have the equipment right now.
We could technically do that. This could be like we could just decide we want to do
live from the House of Vans.
Yes, right. This is it. 24 hours. What can they come up with? What's next?
Yeah.
Yo, Andrew, give us some hip hop predictions. Like 22 is closing out. Let's talk about 2023. Whether like based on maybe like, your insider knowledge and the fact that you're so fucking plugged in, or just what you want to will into existence. Like
besides the Clips reunion that you're tweeting about incessantly, which I really hope happens.
Look, I'm tweeting it into existence.
Do you feel bullish about that real spit like that?
I think it's going to happen. I think it's
dude, I hope, man.
I mean, why else? Why else are we getting? Because Push is one of my favorites,
dude. He's the best.
I love
talking to 2 super fans.
We embarrass ourselves in front of him. At that Pharrell thing
because we've been trying to book him forever because he's like the interview is written, like his intro is done and dusted.
Is that your number one person that you want to?
Oh, I mean, I don't know if it,
but he's up there.
Go for anybody but he's up there, and because it's hopefully going to happen.
Well, we'll
get there.
Let's not jinx it. Danny was up there just because of our knowledge of how amazing he is. Just as like a funny storyteller and everything.
I think Keith for me, like
oh my god,
like you know what, like his Kerwin Frost talks, like that was great, and I'm like, I would love to interview Keith, maybe more than anyone.
Let me go back and say there's other people besides Keith. I would love. I've interviewed Keith.
Right,
I've interviewed him a couple of times. Once is like there's an old YouTube video you can when I was doing a radio segment on WGCI, which is like a R&B hip hop station in Chicago. That was like maybe his first interview. I think it was his first interview.
Damn,
I got like an hour interview with Sosa. That's like Young Chop is there, SD, Fredo Santana, everybody's there.
Dude, R.I.P. Fredo,
R.I.P. Fredo, one of the nicest guys.
So you're, I mean, all time. And another elite tweeter, dude.
Wait, so if you saw him in the cut, it wasn't a scary sight? You were like, Fredo, what up?
Everybody was terrified of everybody was like, dude, what's Fredo going to be like when he came up to the station? Because nobody had met him yet. Like, this is like they're like a couple months
Again, the first interview ever with
Sosa.
That's crazy.
I did Dirk's first interview too. Same station. We used to do this thing called the after party. They wouldn't let him come on the radio, but we would do like after. Like
I see.
We did it on Ustream, if you guys remember.
Got it. Yeah.
And I did Chance. We did early Chance interviews. Right. We did early Vic Mensa, Katie Got Bands, like all those people.
Yeah. Wait, so people were shook about Fredo because
they were like worried about what Fredo was going to come
demon
up to the station. They're like, what's it going to be? Well, like, should we get extra security? Like, Fredo, the nicest guy.
Yeah.
Like when I tell you, Fredo was like one of the.
He was so beloved. I feel like that was the thing. Like, and obviously another guy that like passed way before his time, but like the outpouring of love that he got, like he was friends with everybody, dude. Everyone loved him,
and he knew how to. Like, I think he was a little older than everybody.
Yeah,
that was in like the crew. Like he's like the older cousin, and I think he saw like this is it. Like this is our way to success and money and fame and just out of Chicago and like on to bigger and better things in life. I think he got it in a way that like maybe some of the other people were just like, man, you know, we're young.
Sure.
When you're 16, 17 years old,
Bro, you're a child.
and he was like 21, maybe 22. And so I think he saw like
He had the plan.
he had the plan, and he came in.
He was
and,
their yams.
dude. He shook everybody's hand.
Yeah.
And would work the room, and he just like was a naturally charismatic, good dude.
Sick.
He used to call me all the time too. Like,
damn.
because we did a T-shirt early on, and it was like the explicit lyrics logo.
Yeah.
And it was Fredo in the cut. That's a scary sight.
Okay.
It was a fake short drive. Actually, Joe Fresh Goods. Shout out to Joe. Joe designed it, and it was like a fake short drive Fredo Santana release.
Sick.
And so he'd always call me looking for Joe. Like, yo man, where's Joe? You got my money? Where's my money, man? But
early Glow Gang merch.
early Glow, and you know, Fredo was a good dude. Like, he was nice. He was like Mac Miller nice. If you ever met Mac Miller, like nice,
That's what people say.
ever, like Fredo was like that type of
Damn. Okay.
Fredo in the cut.
He just looked scary as fuck.
He just looked scary. Maybe he, you know, I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know, but like he was. All my experiences with him were great.
So it really should be Fredo in the cut. That's a lovely sight.
Yeah. He was a good dude, man.
Damn,
and I think most people will vouch
rip,
for him.
dude.
Like, even like people that would diss them, like in songs, or whatever, they would always kind of like leave Fredo alone.
Yeah.
Like, Fredo's solid.
Yeah.
What about Kanye? What do you think what's it looking like for him in 23? Is it a rap? Are we
And also, just any predictions you want to throw out there too. We're still in
Oh,
that segment.
man,
I need
you
the
know,
intel.
I don't know. I'm not really feeling this era of Kanye, so I don't.
It's sad, bro.
I'm not really sure. I don't know what, you know. I don't know what's gonna happen with that.
Mm.
I don't know.
He's gonna be deplatformed into fucking oblivion,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, it's
gonna have to start a fucking
Except
podcast?
Parlor, obviously, which is like, come on, dude, what are you doing?
But it's like, man, dude, I remember I was here seeing the ascent and saw his rise. I mean, I remember going to when he had the I'm Good and Get Well Soon mixtapes out here. And you would go to like the mixtape stores, wherever they would sell mixtapes at retail shops or sporting goods stores or whatever. Streetwear store, early sneaker shops. And like those would be like just stacks of them on the counter. Nobody was buying them. Nobody was buying them. This is like 2003, spring 2003. Through the Wire video hits Rap City that same summer and just explodes. You go in those same stores, you can't find those mixtapes anywhere. And then it was just up from there, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger after that.
Most recently, were you around when he was doing Donda? Were you like, or
I went to the show.
Okay.
Here. I went to the I was around for like that 2018 when he was doing all the stuff like the Pusha, the Tiana, Nas. I was around for that.
Would he like go to you for advice, or is it kind of like, or you just like,
no, because of Valet. Valet was new to the Valet had just signed.
Of course, that makes
so the
sense,
label. So we were kind of around at that point. Like we went to some of the parties.
What did Ye think of Valet?
He said Valet reminded him of his uncle.
Okay.
Which is just like,
which we had no context for.
Right. Okay. That's it.
Is this a good thing?
Yeah.
Or a bad thing?
Remind
Just
how. Yeah.
But then we got invited to go to Wyoming. And Valet was like, man, I don't want to go to Wyoming.
It's too cold.
So here's the thing about Valet, dude.
It was nice.
It doesn't fucking matter who calls him.
Care.
He does not care that the most famous like artist in the world is calling him to come to Wyoming to work. He's like, man, I got some stuff going on. I'm not really. I tell
almost
him
done with his car.
He's like, tell him I'll go next week. That's not really how it works with Kanye. It's like he wants you to come today.
No, right.
So you would get a call and be like, "Yo, we want you guys. You need to get a COVID test and get on a plane like today and come out to Wyoming."
Wait, this is pre-COVID though, wasn't it?
Or
well, yeah, but I'm just saying like examples of this was not one time.
Right.
This was
Oh, okay.
in terms of like when Valet was on Good, was he like actively contributing because of like how Kanye does like basically records by with groupthink? Like was he like
not at all? Not at all. I think he contributed like one time. Him and Rocky. It was him, Rocky, and Ye at the studio in Calabasas, and they were just like bouncing ideas, and they recorded a bunch of stuff. And he did some songs. They did some songs together that never came out or in a vault. We'll probably never hear again.
Were they fire?
So I Love It. I don't know. You might have heard the original version of I Love It with Lil Pump. It was Kanye, Lil Pump, and Valet.
Okay.
I did hear this.
So you probably heard that version. It's floating around the Def Jam offices.
Honestly, like it's a bummer that became this like stupid like novelty song because the beat is good, dude.
Yeah.
Like
the Valet verse was sick. He had the best verse on it. He killed
of course.
it.
I mean,
And also,
I hope he could out rap Lil Pump, dude.
Yeah, dude.
And also,
he had to hold a gun to his head to do it because we had just left like LA with them. And then like we had landed and they were like, all right, we need Valet to like do his verse. Like,
Yeah, we need some
tonight.
actual good rapping on the song.
please.
Because it's
And-
Poopity Scoop and Lil Pump.
And like we need it tonight. And
Yeah.
then they were calling like every 20 minutes, like, is it done yet? Is it done yet? Is it
Jesus.
done yet? And shout out to Rio Mac, like he's the one that like was with Valet at that moment at his home studio and like got him to finish it. And they're like, we need more bars. They turned it in and he put more bars on it. And then like, I don't know, Pump kind of didn't, I guess that's what story that we were told that Pump didn't want one of Kanye's artists on it. Pump was like, well, if you put one of your artists, I want one of my homies on this song. And so it's just like
Pump has artists?
I don't know if he wanted to smoke or like a homie or I don't know. I don't know what it was, but he wanted somebody else on it and it didn't.
That SNL show was so
that was
embarrassing,
crushing.
too.
That was soul crushing.
Yeah.
Like that was such a look. Even though people thought that song was kind of whack, like I kind of like that song and like
Well, if you want any indication of like the two-facedness, that's kind of like similar to what you were saying with Womp Womp. People are like in the office, like, this shit fucking sucks. And then it like became a viral, goofy novelty shit. And people are like, yo, this fucking slaps.
And Valet would
bro.
have been on SNL dressed like a Fiji water bottle.
he wouldn't have done that though. That's the thing. I would have been pleading with him backstage, like, dude, please put this
two guns to his
put
head.
this Apple costume on. Bro.
Yeah.
And he'd be like,
no.
nah, but I wouldn't make him do, but that wouldn't have worked out. But like, and then I think the Yandi, this was like around Yandi time. And there was a song called Jordans and no, was it like Blue Jordans or Don C? I forget. It was like a Blue Jordans and Don or Blue Don C's and Snap. It was, I forget the name of the song, but it was like named after Don C's, whatever.
Yeah. His
And
Jordan 2s.
It was him and Ye on that one. And it was like a reference. And then, because it was supposed to go on Yandi. And they're like, Yandi's coming out tonight. It was another one. We were flying in from somewhere. It was like, Yandi's dropping after SNL. We need Valet to finish, like, put a verse on this song. And Valet was in a mood. He rapped. He put like 32 bars on it. And then it just never came
A
out.
slapper that we'll never hear.
That we'll never hear.
Which like maybe not having that association ultimately
Well,
in the long run.
Yeah.
Do your own thing.
What is some music on Andrew Barber Spotify's played recently that might surprise people? You know, maybe it's not all just fucking
Any guilty
drill
pleasures?
rap
Man,
and-
you know, because I was expecting you guys to throw me the guilty pleasures.
I mean, you know.
One, because I know you do that
What we doing?
sometimes. I mean, Silk the Shocker is my guilty pleasure. No question.
Wow.
No
Yeah,
question.
you're gonna ride for Silk the Shocker?
I hate when people go at Silk the Shocker. They say he's the worst rapper ever. I do not agree with that.
Well, there's definitely worse rappers.
There's worse rappers than Silk the Shocker.
What do people claim it was just like a nepotism thing? Like for him
I
getting
just think
on
they
No
think he
Limit?
sucks because he couldn't rap on beat. And it's like, nobody raps on beat.
Nobody raps on beat anymore.
Who raps on beat now?
Yeah,
Rapping
you're
on beat
a
is so
narc if you
cool.
rap on beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Everyone's got the Valet flow.
He wasn't that terrible, but like
I liked Silk the Shocker. He has some bangers, dude. Wait, some good albums.
So you
man.
play like Silk the Shocker like solo albums? Like
in the whip? In the whip?
Yeah, I'll play Silk. The Charge It to the Game was a classic, a personal classic. His first album that's just called Silk when his name was just Silk and it's called The Shocker. Like No Limit. I love No Limit.
All right.
Like, I will play the most random No Limit albums, like Prime Suspects.
Yeah,
Actually, that
probably
one
not the
sucks.
No Limit that I would go with, but yeah, okay.
Like I'm trying to think of like a C Murder.
Yeah.
C Murder has some good. C Murder was dope, man, and like
Yeah.
I don't know the one song that we can't say.
you don't want to say that one,
No.
but
Yeah,
C
please
Murder has
don't.
like some strong records, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Silk the Shocker.
I like No Limit, and I think people don't really give No Limit their they give Master P.
I think they're starting to though. I think they're starting to give like cash money always, but then like no people
I
are
mean,
like No Limit as well.
I don't. Are we putting No Limit in the same conversation as Cash Money?
No, but I think like that business
That's not
model,
fair.
like that business model.
Oh,
They obviously
Like, click
are
up
just
and
because
just,
they're
like-
from the same city
Yeah.
and they're from New Orleans, and like there hasn't been a huge explosion of rap since that time. But I was a fan of both. I really love both those labels for sure. Cash Money's legendary.
Lil Wayne is, I don't know, that might be my number one all time. I mean, that's the guy.
number one.
If you're 35,
Right.
36, whatever, that's like you were there, like the Drought 3 and fucking No Ceilings. Like you're like, that's like the peak of my rap fandom is like Carter 2, like when I'm a freshman in college. So
It was so fun to download those and just to hear what it was an exciting time. And I think some of that's like you kind of look back and it's like, but you were young and like you've different. It's like you timestamp memories to that stuff. So
how do you rank the Carters real quick? I like to ask people this. Which,
Carter
off the dome.
Carter 2,
Yeah.
number 1.
Absolutely.
I think the original Carter number 2.
I'm set. See, yes.
Carter 3 is 3, and then the other.
I
one's
don't
whatever.
even. Yeah.
But the 3 that where do you rank?
That's exactly the same.
I like 3.
2 is so.
I get
It's
it.
maybe one of the. I mean, I'm biased,
But
as a stan, but
it's like that was the soundtrack to a very specific like,
Yes.
year in my life that I fucking loved, and like
Yeah,
that was
same.
like just, like, you know, so like that's how
Yeah.
music works.
yeah.
Yeah, so you guys are like 5, 6 years whatever younger than me. So like, that was, you guys were in college. Then,
I think Carter
high school
is college.
Yeah, Carter 2 is like right, going
right
to
on
college.
right in there.
Yeah.
What I liked about Carter 2 was it was like, and I love Manny Fresh. He's one of my favorite producers
Absolutely.
ever. But it was such like he was able to deliver on these other beats.
Well, he was like doing the whole like best rapper alive since the best rapper retired. And it's like you got to get off the regional bounce. Like you got to just fucking.
He's rapping on like Dipset beats.
Yeah.
Basically. And I think the fun fact is it's like there's a Carter 2 that exists where he was all Manny Fresh beats. And
What?
then he left. Yeah.
Really?
You can find most of them on.
Oh, okay.
It's like the Carter, they call it like the Carter 2.5. I think or the Carter 1.5.
But that's a different record. I mean, completely.
It was all Manny Fresh. And then when he left the label, he took the beats and sold them elsewhere or just didn't use them.
Crazy, dude.
So Wayne basically had to redo that whole album.
Well, he fucking slapped, dude. He killed it.
Speaking of ranking, Andrew, when like, and now, I mean, we talked about the complex 50 list and shit, and now like we're seeing, I think, a resurgence in these fucking bullshit lists. When a Pitchfork or Rolling Stone drops like 100 best albums of all time or like best songs of the 90s, like, do you give that any attention or do you understand like what they're doing?
No, I know what they're doing, but it's fun to kind of engage in some of that stuff. And a lot of the times, like I'll engage on like text threads with other people that are maybe in the industry
and maybe saying things that you can't necessarily tweet.
Yeah, exactly. Because not everything is for social media, but I mean, I get why people put these, or I get a lot of times read these lists and I know that like people are writing them that weren't necessarily there.
Right.
So like they're like best rap songs of the 90s or whatever. And it's like
26-year-old.
It's like, there's like a 20
It's written by a child.
shout out to like you got like Alphonse at Pitchfork. Like that dude knows what he's doing. He knows, he knows his history and like he's a dope writer. But there's other people that I wouldn't trust like that are younger that like write about this stuff that necessarily
You wasn't there.
You wasn't, and I hate to be a wasn't
but
there.
It kind of applies
guy.
when we're doing an all-time thing, you know? Like,
But it's like if you're gonna do a 90s like only like rap or a 2000, like you need to have somebody that was actually there that could remember what that was like.
Right.
Because like some of those songs are like, dude, nobody was listening to that shit.
Maybe chart it, maybe went viral on TikTok like 20 years later. Right.
And
30 years later.
And it's like you're just saying that for kudos. Like you're just saying that to or fill like a quota of something.
It's the right answer.
Right.
But you wasn't there. Let's get into the next section of this podcast.
Oh, this should be fun.
Little section we like to call Dad-ass.
A little sucking and fucking for the kids at
cheeks,
home.
Baby.
Yeah.
Come on. So it's, it's what makes
We got to do it.
It's life.
Yeah.
Do you listen to Chicago Drill when you have sex?
No. You sick fuck.
I wonder if anyone out there fucks the Chicago Drill and
David Drake. No, I'm just playing. Shout out to David Drake. No. Some people probably do.
Oh, absolutely. What rapper do you think gets the most ass? Or not think, you must know.
or that you've seen it. You've seen the game get spit.
Oh man, I can't put in. I don't want to put anybody on blast.
Who's like the biggest ladies man? You know, the most legendary stick man or stick.
I
girl.
mean, I think if you go in history of like Chicago rap, it's got to be like Common. Common's had like all kinds of, Common's like a ladies man. Like he even was like back in the day. Maybe like from
he's smooth, dude.
He's smooth, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a lot of high profile girls.
Is he single?
I don't know. I don't know what his status is now. Huh. I think he was with Tiffany Haddish. I think they're not anymore, but I don't know who he's with.
Damn, shout Common, bro.
Yeah,
he influenced.
Common's another legend. He's somebody I got to interview that I really was like excited to like, have an in-depth interview with. I've interviewed him a few times, but the last one I did, I got to really because he had a long career.
Yeah,
I mean, he's doing fucking. You see him in commercials for he was
in John Wick.
Yeah, he's in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
at least the John Wick shit is cool. I'm just saying he's doing like commercials for like insurance and shit. It's like I guess he's like a famous.
Those insurance bags are crazy.
Yeah,
those are bags. Those are different. Those are different type of bags. Those are different than those. Trying to get that streaming royalty bag.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that Blue Shield Prudential bag. Jesus Christ,
that AARP bag.
So what's the way to Andrew Barber's heart? Obviously, you're wifed up, but like
man, if you know album cuts, If you know album cuts, I'll talk music all day. I mean, I just like people that can talk music.
Is your wife a music head? Just like
she knows some stuff, but she's not like me. She kind of thinks a lot of stuff.
Does she hate you when you're like, yo, listen to this fucking East Side is like 90?
She's like, what are you talking? What is wrong with you?
Did you go nerd mode on the first date? Were you like trying to vet her fucking chops, her musical chops?
No, she has good taste in music. She likes rap.
Okay.
She's not like a diehard, but she used to go to all the concerts with me. Like she would sneak in.
Right.
Like you go to stuff like that you weren't allowed cameras in. So back in the day, you used to have to like sneak in. You couldn't record stuff on your phone back in the day.
Right.
The early blog era was like getting exclusive footage. Like when I went to the American Gangster, the night American Gangster dropped, Jay-Z performed at the House of Blues in Chicago.
Sick.
And he brought out Kanye and he brought out Beanie Siegel and Freeway and Memphis Bleak. And it's probably the last time you'd see all those people on stage.
The rock,
the actual rock. And like she snuck in a digital camera. You couldn't record stuff on your phone. She like put it in her bra and like, bam, he smuggled it in.
Was down.
Baby.
Is that when you knew she was the one?
Yeah, that's why I knew she was a down ass chick.
Yeah, down a ride. She was down Fake Shore Drive.
She was down. She had my back, so she held me down. She held me down in those early years of blogging and trying.
She was your shooter.
She was my
literal
trying to
shooter.
figure out like when I had to have somebody hold me down, like figuring out how to make this a full-time career,
Right.
and like if it fails, what am I going to do? Like,
So she's really the brains behind the operation, or at least
Kind
like
of, yeah.
She had your back.
It puts the battery in your back.
Yeah.
She put the battery in my back. She was the one that convinced me to go do it full time.
Oh
Really?
shit!
So without
that
her,
push that you needed,
She gave me the push because otherwise I was nervous. Like
you're like, I'm still gonna be the suit guy during the day.
that paycheck every 2 weeks is good. It's comfortable.
You're telling me,
Yeah.
brother.
the 401k, the retirement plan, all that stuff is like very
but she
comfortable. The dental plan.
convinced you to believe in yourself. She told you to stop being so pussy out
That's
here.
what she told me.
Yo, sometimes it takes
what's
like the
wrong
love
with
of
you?
a good woman to like,
So without her, the world doesn't have Fake Shore Drive.
That's it.
And think about what the world would be
crazy.
like.
I mean, it existed, but like I was still working.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
but
have been
like
able to take it. I wouldn't have been able because like, it started getting to a point where people would call me and be like, hey, we need you to come to New York, like MTV Jams or whatever. MTV News is doing something. We want you to come out and be a panel expert on the panel. Can you get on a flight tomorrow and come to New York? And I'd be like, actually, I can't really because I got to go to work.
I have a big meeting.
I have a big meeting. I got to set up a projector for shit like that.
I'm moving shit on Google Slides.
Yeah.
I was missing out on all these opportunities.
Damn.
And stuff. Like I couldn't get on the road and like I'd have to plan stuff around the weekend.
No,
and,
totally. Yeah.
Shout
You're
out. She was just like, what are you doing? Go. She's like,
Yeah.
if this fails, I got your back until you get back on your feet.
Damn.
Shout out Mrs. Barber.
Yeah. So she held me down.
Hell yeah,
Oh,
dude.
That's awesome. And now you have found much success. So we got to ask, how much money do you make?
Yeah.
Millions of dollars.
Okay.
Millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Nah, man. We don't get into all that.
What do you like to spend your hard-earned money on besides like raising your kids and like providing for your family? What's Andrew Barber
How do you
splashing
indulge,
out on?
dog?
Travel soccer for my kids.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
no.
I mean, maybe, dude.
No.
Those cleats ain't cheap.
No.
Yeah.
Man, I like to buy like vintage. I love vintage tees and vintage stuff. I buy a lot of that.
How robust is your vintage tee collection?
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
What's the most you've ever spent on a single rap tee?
Like 250 probably.
What was it?
I won't go above like 300. I feel
Yeah.
What was
gotta-
it? 250?
I gotta-
Motherfuckers be taxing too,
Dude, they're taxing. I got a really good Cypress Hill one. I got like a first album Cypress Hill.
Sick.
One that's really sick, dude.
But the collection is robust and strong.
The best stuff that I have is like the college dropout era,
Yeah,
early
sure.
era Ye stuff, like the dead stock.
Have you ever thought about like selling that stuff?
Nah,
Okay.
never. I have like boxes and crates of.
How many tees
of
do you
old
own?
rap
Would you
tees.
say if you had to guesstimate? Like thousands?
No, I wouldn't say thousands.
Okay.
I have probably
Hundreds.
hundreds of tees, but some are whack, some are better than others.
Do you have
I
what's the most rare Kanye shit? Do you have like the college dropout like staff
I have,
tee or the varsity jacket?
dude. I wanted to wear one today, so I went with the icy. But it's like I can't. Kanye's not really.
I feel you, dude.
If I would have showed up in like a Kanye shirt, you guys would have
head
been
to
like,
toe, yeah.
you guys would
Yeah.
have been like, this guy's a
Show up in the
fucking-
bear costume.
You're like, these Kanye stands are fucking sick.
Yeah.
These guys are nuts. But
Sickening.
no, I became pretty tight with Sam Hansen, who was from FTK, which
Okay.
was the and I did a whole interview series with him. He did all the early merch. for
Oh,
Kanye.
okay.
He did all Kanye's early merch. So Sam's a dude that you should talk to. He had this store in Visalia, California, outside of Fresno, called FTK. And they had like one of the first LRG accounts.
Okay.
And that's how they met Don C. And they could do graphic design early on. So he's actually the person that designed the college dropout bear.
Oh, wow.
He did that and put it on a t-shirt. He's the one that printed up the Miracle Whip tees. He did the Miracle Whip
Got it,
tee
got
with
it,
the
got
Ben
it.
sign
Yeah.
that they ended up doing for the Mercedes Benz. And so I become friends with him, and I have some of those. I have like college dropout sample tees.
Damn.
That,
like
like,
one-on-one shit.
The one of that there might be 5 or 6
Okay,
of
yeah,
them.
yeah.
Of there may be
Might as well be.
because I think they
One-on-one.
printed up maybe 100 of the Miracle Whip tees, and then
Yeah.
realized that they could get sued by
Yeah.
Mercedes because this is like or Miracle Whip.
Yeah.
Um,
Also.
And so they like print them up and put them on a site for like a day.
Right.
And then they were like, no, you got to take those down. We're going to get sued over it. And so I have some of that stuff.
Crazy.
So I got some really rare, some really rare rap tees for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I guess
I got
why
early-
sell it? Ain't nobody buying it right now.
Right.
Put it in the back burner.
Yeah.
And I got like early Lupe stuff
Yeah.
from that time, food and liquor stuff.
So you're like a merch like you collect.
You got an
It's
archive.
Like, yeah,
I have a good
you're
archive.
You're a merch archivist. There it is.
And one of my friends, Drew, Instrumental Drew, who's a Chicago guy, he has even more than me.
Yeah.
So we've talked about maybe doing a show together and like
That'd be
putting
sick,
some of that
dude.
stuff, putting some of that stuff on display and
That'd be fire.
Just in Chicago.
Because you could like
Museum.
tell the history of like any hip hop scene through the merch, right? So
Yeah,
it's like,
And I have all kinds of rare prints and concert posters and like
sick, dude.
stuff like that from back in the day. And I'm not gonna say I'm a hoarder and like a lot
Sounds
of
like-
but I have a lot of hip hop like historical stuff.
Would your wife call you a hoarder?
Yeah.
She's just like, get that out of here. You know what I mean? She's
Yeah.
like, you're crazy.
Take that to
but
the
she
storage
supports it. She's like,
Yeah.
doesn't think I'm that crazy.
When you did fully lean into Fake Shore Drive, what was like, did you get yourself an Attaboy gift when like the first big check from blogging touched down?
I don't know if I ever got a big check from blogging.
Really?
No?
I mean, like, you know what there was? They were pretty good back early on in like the complex ad network days. When,
Yeah.
like,
Uh-huh.
but then when things pivoted to video, like that was like
No, totally.
that was
At,
the
at its
end.
peak, how many people were visiting Fake Shore Drive?
Yeah. What were the
in like
hits
people
like?
in peak blogging era.
Man, we might have been doing like 1 million a month or something like that.
Okay.
Man.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
which was not
for like a more localized
was
thing.
like for a niche,
Yeah.
very like local blog.
Well, it's
That
not
was
like
pretty good.
It's not the biggest in the world, but it's hyper attentive and enthusiastic.
Yeah, for
enthusiasts.
local and like
Yeah.
because everybody was giving me like local premieres. Like so, like
Yeah.
we had Lupe exclusives early on. He was giving us stuff. We had even stuff that was unreleased from him. We had rare unreleased Kanye stuff. We had Bump J. Bump J was like one of the biggest
Mhm.
rappers from Chicago at the
What was the
time when
Keith
I watched.
exclusive you had that you just tweeted about?
I had Love Sosa first. I had the I Don't Like remix first.
Wow.
I got to do the online premiere of the I Don't Like remix.
That's
Damn.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I was listening to that in the Uber ride home. I couldn't figure out how to connect to Bluetooth, so I'm just holding it to my
Yeah.
phone. I was like, I got to listen to Don't Like Remix while I'm in Chicago. And then I forgot that Big Sean's on it.
Yeah, Big Sean is on it. Yeah, shout out to Sean. But
Unfortunately.
yeah, hey,
First is
hey.
pretty bad.
Hey, we did.
Was my favorite line from that song though was jean jacket with the sleeves cut.
Oh, yeah.
Jada Kiss. What a line. You mean a vest?
Yeah.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite part. But we had a situation where and actually Virgil might have been involved in the discourse because Virgil was like heavily involved in all that stuff. And Virgil might have been the one that sent it to me. I can't remember if it was Peter Pan or Virgil. Peter's Keith's manager sent me the song and they're like, all right, you can post it, you can premiere it, but you have to let the radio version play because we're giving it to DJ Ferris first, who's on Power 92.
Yeah, of course.
And we're gonna let him play it.
Legend.
He ran it for an hour.
Oh, yeah.
He played it for, and I'm like waiting. I got the post ready. I'm ready. And I'm like, boom, I hit it. I think people were just refreshing
sure.
the site waiting on it. And the site crashed immediately.
Of course.
Like the site's crashed twice, like into that capacity.
Don't Like
When
Remix.
Don't Like Remix and Acid Rap. And we had the
sure.
we had the leak of Acid Rap first, Chance the Rapper. And that crashed shit immediately as well.
Damn.
A well-deserved crash. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a fucking fire ass.
All right, well, if you're not, I mean, you're slowly but surely building your hoardist tendencies with the vintage move. What about like, has there been a rapper purchase you've seen with your own eyes that just blew you away? Like, what were you like car shopping with Keith or
seeing someone fucking go ham.
throw down a Louis bag of cash? Like,
I think just being around like the good music scene, like at that time, like the stuff that even maybe they didn't even pay for that they were just getting for free.
Right.
It was like, just being backstage at some of these shows, like you get a peek into Jay-Z, like Watch the Throne, dressing room. And it's like, they got like ice cream machines in there. It's like the most plush, nice backstage setup you've ever seen in
the
your
best
entire
ice cream
life.
you've ever had in your
It's
life.
like it's just like,
Wasn't it the big thing was the Hennessy like Coolada machine or what was that?
they had
Wasn't there some rumor?
so much
Like a
stuff
Hennessy
back there.
Icy was like the big thing or something.
And it would
yeah.
be like, yo, what did this cost? Like, what would this cost? Like just even being on good music, like you get a phone call. Like one time we got a phone call and it was like, hey, what are you guys doing tomorrow? And it'd always be like that. It would never be like, hey, what are you guys doing like the 18th of November? It would be like, what are you guys doing like in 12 hours?
right now.
All right, so we're going to do a concert on the way to Coachella. We're not performing at Coachella this year. We're going to do every good music artist is going to perform in the desert on the way to Coachella. So everybody has to stop in the middle of the desert to watch you play. Can you guys be here? We're going to send a jet or we're going to do this. We got a car picking you up. So they set up all this shit. And then like in the morning, you'd be ready to go to the airport. And then like your car would be out front. You'd be like walking to your car and like you get a phone call. Like, actually, we canceled this.
Yeah. False alarm.
Like it would just be stuff like that happening.
Yeah.
Like constantly all the time.
That's mad annoying as a dude like a family and shit.
Yeah, I mean, but that was I want to see this stuff happen.
Yeah,
but there would be all kinds of stuff like that where just all this money would be spent and then just nothing would happen. Damn.
Yeah, just like literally set on fire. We're
Like
just
literally
burning
set on
piles of
fire. Like
cash.
they hired, probably built a stage and like started work on all this stuff.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just like flights were booked, car services were booked.
It's like, oh, we forgot there's a no-show radius around Coachella.
Yeah, it's
we
like, we
actually
can't
do this.
We legally can't do this.
The lawyers called us. We can't do this.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew, you're doing fucking incredible. The Amazon radio show, Valet, big things coming soon. Obviously, Fake Short Drive is moving into 2023 with big things on the fucking way. We would love to see you do even better. So if you'll indulge us for a second.
Yes, sure.
We would love to offer up some constructive criticism.
Yeah, of course, please.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
I was just take
Yeah.
it. First step, you're insanely plugged. And we would love you to be our booking agent. And first up, we would love Valet.
Yeah. Or you want to do a Valet episode?
Yeah.
Does he do podcasts?
He hasn't done an interview in a long time. I think somebody grabbed him on at a house he was at in LA and like interviewed him like on the spot like a year ago. But he hasn't done any interviews in a long time. I think it's time.
Let's
Well,
fucking
listen,
go.
bro, we are always available.
You got the TF bat phone.
Yeah.
I know how to get in touch with you guys now.
Absolutely.
I have your number. I don't have his number.
We'll put. I'll
So
start the
get a group
We'll start
chat
We
the
got to
going.
get on group chat.
Absolutely.
Okay, so booking agent, great. We'll check that box. Andrew, have you thought about running for mayor of Chicago?
Absolutely not.
No?
That sounds like the worst job ever. I've never seen a Chicago mayor that people like.
That's why Lori Lightfoot needs the fucking case of
Modelo's
Modelo's,
on
bro.
deck,
That,
dude.
that sounds like a
She's
terrible
stressed.
dude. Stressed.
She's like, I'm shotgunning every
Pressed.
one of
Yeah.
these.
Dude,
and then
the
I'm going to drop
Modelo
a
shit.
mixtape.
Bro, did you see her walking through the CVS with the
case of Modelo's?
With the case,
Yeah.
and like they didn't even stop her.
Wait, she just walked out with it?
She didn't pay for it. I don't know if somebody else arranged it.
She's above the
I'm
law.
like, yo, if they didn't make her like stop and pay for it, like why didn't you just send somebody else in there to get it for you?
Yeah,
was she in her
no, for real.
Batman?
What the
Was she in her Batman costume?
She was fully suited. She's
always
suited in the chopper suit.
that was on the mood board for our trip. Just
Yeah.
fucking suited up.
We're
with
trying
with
to
Modelo's.
tap into that Lightfoot energy, dude.
Yeah, I'm trying to
think
get
her
that deli
suits
in my belly.
I think she's in style now. I think that style of pant is in style.
She's like
Tom Brown.
She could maybe be wearing like a Balenciaga, you know?
Yeah, honestly.
I think so.
So Andrew, when I'm thinking of you running for mayor of Chicago, it's like we want to get fucking Keith to do a live show in his home city, bro.
That'd be my first order of business.
It's got to be right?
Executive order.
Executive order.
We worked on trying to do one a couple years ago. We were going to do like a Keith homecoming show, and like
What happened?
It went through it was just there's so much other stuff. Like I think it's like some legal stuff. Like I don't know if I don't want to speak on like the case. It's not like
Right.
a criminal case. There's just like reasons why he can't come back.
Didn't they they wouldn't even let the hologram happen? What
They
was
wouldn't
that?
let the hologram. That was in northern Indiana. That was in Hammond, Indiana, which is like right outside. It's like
But they even
a
blocked
minute outside.
But they
of
blocked that
Chicago.
too.
They blocked that, shut that down. That was like 5 or 6 years ago.
What is the point they're trying to prove? Like, what?
I believe the point is they're racist. Is
Yeah,
what it
okay,
sounds
sure.
like.
Yeah, and they just
but
it was he was like the poster child for everything that was going wrong. So like at any
Right.
time that something was
He's
going
the
wrong
scapegoat.
at that time, Keith was the scapegoat.
Straw man.
And it was like exactly. There was like no other artist that they could pin it on.
Right.
And I thought it was like whack at that time how they were like pitting Chance and Keith against each other. They're like, Chance is a good one.
Oh, like
Keith
the
is the
media
negative
is-
one.
His
That was
father's a police officer.
like, that was like the
narrative.
that was like the narrative that people were like, and it was like,
That's
that's
fucking
whack. Like everybody was trying to make him be like some good guy, and everybody was trying to make him be like this evil person. And it's not really the case. But like, also, I think it's good that Keith doesn't come back to Chicago because it's like he doesn't have to deal with the bullshit and like
Right.
nothing. Like
He's out. He made it out. He's loving life.
He beat the game. He's basically just doing side quests now.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure,
he's
sure,
off
sure.
he got out of the major label system.
Yeah.
He's free to be as weird and eccentric and experimental on the music as he wants
Yo,
to
the
be.
album he put out at the end of last year, pretty fucking.
But what
good.
is the new
For him
tracks?
is crazy.
Yeah.
That's one of my that might be top 3
Thought Breaker,
top that's like
Gas.
that might be top 3 Keith
albums?
projects.
Doesn't he have
For
a
you?
project coming out real soon? And he's just like randomly uploading shit to Apple Music. That
Yeah.
someone was saying?
Almighty So 2 is coming out in December.
That's what
Fuck.
it is.
Almighty So 1 mixtape is a classic.
Keith,
Love it.
honestly, dude, his fucking discography is like it's up there now. Like he doesn't put out bad projects. It's just
No.
like it's a lot of music, obviously.
It's a lot.
but-
I think Keith, and I'm
He's
not even trying to put
prolific.
Valet and Keith
Yeah.
in like the same box, but I feel like Keith and Valet are alike in where they just try new stuff, and like anytime they feel people catching up to their style or what they're doing, they just flip it.
Yeah.
And people may not get it at first. Because I remember like after Finally Rich came out, Keith started doing like kind of different. He stopped making that same type of music. as everybody started emulating him, he flipped it and started doing other stuff. And I feel like at the time, a lot of people weren't ready for it. There were certain people like, this is not Keith. This is, he fell off or whatever.
Right.
He did. Now you look back and you're like, dude, this stuff is really good and unique and like different.
Ahead of the curve.
Macaroni Time, dude.
Macaroni Time was awesome, but a lot of people are like, what the fuck is this? Like,
yo, can you, what is Macaroni Time? Do you know, is that some Chicago slang?
I don't even know. I still don't really know what Macaroni Time is, but it's awesome.
A man just likes macaroni.
Nah, it definitely is slang for something.
No bad time for macaroni.
Yeah.
And like, you know, somebody's going to hear this and be like, dude, Barber doesn't know what he's talking about anymore. He doesn't know what Macaroni Time is. But I just like that. It was so different. And like, I think that's one thing that I definitely miss about music, like in general now. It's like, it's so hard to take risks. Like the indie people, I think this is a question that you asked me a while ago. Like, where do I see music going? I see songs getting shorter. And I tweeted this a couple years ago and people fucking clown me for it. I got flamed left and right. So I said, in the future, I said like in 10 years, which it even happened faster. I'm like, every song's going to be like 30 seconds long.
Bro, look at Poland.
Yeah.
Hour 20, minute 23.
And it's slapper too.
Slapper for the ages with, and it's just like whatever. It's like it's just like an unfinished song.
People were hating on you hard and you nailed it.
And I'm like, it's gonna get even shorter. Like songs will be under a minute.
Did you see somebody did like one of these like nerd accounts that's like actually, you know, they tried to like intellectualize it with like walk is actually Polish for this, and like they did the like walk, like that's actually that phrase means this in Italian classical music, and you know what that phrase literally translates to lean. And then people are like, yo,
it's
99.9% Yachty didn't mean this at all.
Any of that. You guys are like, it's like they dissect these bar like a Kendrick verse, and it's like that's not even.
Well, he said he's like, my boy was sipping on a Poland Spring, and he was sipping on lean in the studio, and he's like, I brought the walk to Poland.
I brought the walk hard to Poland.
It just that's how a lot of times stop looking into it like that.
It's not that deep.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have songs getting shorter. People will still TikTok. I don't see that going anywhere.
People try new shit.
I think indie artists that are able to like create their own thing, like Alchemist has done, and like built his own world on the indie side where you can sell merch and vinyl and all that other stuff. Harry Fraud's doing the same. A lot of those different people. I think you're going to see like. This is maybe one of the best times to be an indie artist right now. I think you're going to see more of artists leaving the major label system to do that
because they can generate their own revenue through other shit besides just like streaming and.
Yeah, I mean that's what Harry. We had a long conversation yesterday, and on the Amazon Amp show that I do, and he was like, "Yo, I mean, it still holds true. It's like, you know, you want 8 cents per record, or $8?
No, totally.
Like, you know, so it's like it just depends on what you want to
do. The math, dude.
Do the math. Aftermath gets the last.
Fredo Santana saying, "Do the math." Andrew, what do you want to plug? Where can kids follow you? The floor is yours, dude.
You made it.
We appreciate your time.
No, I feel so honored to be on the show, man. You guys came to Chicago hanging out.
Just for you, dude.
Hanging out with Ric Flair at Gibson and the whole thing. Man, it sounded like it was a good time. But it's great to have you guys here. It's great to be on the show. Man. You know, you can find me at Fake Shore Drive.
Yes, sir.
On Instagram, Twitter. I'm most active
Essential
on
Twitter follow. Cannot stress that enough.
Yeah. Thank you. You can find me on Facebook, Andrew Barber.
Okay.
Has anybody plugged? No, you're like the old head who plugged his Facebook.
That was a joke. I don't even get on Facebook.
Is there a Fake Shore Drive TikTok?
I have an account, but I don't post anything on it. Everybody's like, you need to get on. I'm like, I'm not doing any. I'm going to be on there playing like the sample guy. Like, the sample came from this. It's like, oh yeah, no shit, buddy.
I'm sure there definitely is a lane. I'm sure for that like hip hop historian green screen type stuff. But that's
I try not to be that corny.
But there's a lot of young there's young people that are like, did you know that Chief Keef went to Paris to record Jesus?
Yeah.
Like there's and then they have like a million fucking likes and everything.
Dude, every list that you've written, every list that all of us have written is getting repurposed by like some younger kid who's just like not doing any of the actual research, and it's like going hella viral.
Isn't that crazy now? Like to see like old stuff that
ain't no one reading. No one's gonna ever read your original list now, so it's gonna be disseminated through.
And it's like
some fucking child,
and there's nuance there that they don't understand necessarily, or like, or just like. You know, they just cut out facts. So it's like they just cut out like half the story and it's just like one thing. Yeah. And it turns into, it's like, this is how history gets recorded wrong. That's why
100%, right?
I did back in like 2013 or some shit, I did like the 50 greatest Japanese brands of all time. And then like a top 10 guy, Issei Miyake, recently died. And so I was just literally reading the top 10. And in the comments like, fuck you, bro. Like, why do you include this brand? And it's a brand that didn't exist in 2012. And I'm like, yo,
I wrote this 10 years ago, dog.
Dude, people will find those old complex lists that I did I wrote so
flame
many
you?
of them.
Yeah.
And will attack me like, yo, why didn't you put, it's like, dude, the song's like 6 months old. Like, did you not check the date? This thing was written in 2009 or something like that.
Do you have haters currently that are like, yo, fuck Barber? Like
Yeah, I mean, some
how
not
do
like.
you deal with that?
I think you always. I mean, I've always had. I think anybody has that. I'm sure you guys have people that.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like us.
Bon appetit. It's on site, bitch.
It's on site. It's on site with BA. Yeah, it is on site when I see Bon Appetit.
When I see Bon Apple tea, it's on fucking site.
You know, like you're always gonna have that. I mean, anytime you've had any kind of success or like have a platform.
But you're such a
always gonna
beloved
have-
guy. Like the love.
Yeah, but I
is
still get hate. I mean, not a
but the
lot.
love. Do you pay attention to it, or do you just like lean into the love you get?
I think it's. You know, everybody likes to say, man, I just concentrate on the love. But I mean, somebody could throw a zinger at you.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That
That
shit
shit doing.
Cuts deep.
You might be thinking about that for
You're
2
laying in
weeks.
bed and like being like, damn, that motherfucker got me.
And then I know that they did it on purpose. Like they said that they went for the jugular. Because they knew that it would hit. But like, dude, you just, you know,
It comes with the territory,
it
right?
comes with the territory.
If you want to be a guy who has a platform and like has opinions, it's gonna happen. Or
You know what that person commenting is doing? I'll tell you what they're not doing. They're not fucking drinking martinis and eating steaks at Gibson's with Ric Flair.
absolutely are not fucking. They're not chilling at the House of Vans in the
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I was Barber and the Nature Boy.
right. But it's like, you know, people talk shit, and I think, you know, you know, people will like. Then, you know, people probably hate there's probably a lot of my tweets that might end up in people's group chats. They're like, this guy's a fucking cornball. He doesn't know what he's talking. I mean, you know, that
Honestly, at least you don't have to see it.
Yeah,
It's like,
right.
yo, do it behind my back, man.
But like, you know, everybody's going to be talking about you probably one way or another. But
True.
it's like, you know what, man, it is what it is.
You don't
know?
have haters if you're not popping. It's just that simple, you know?
But I try to always walk, you know, and be a good guy and not create problems.
So
I
you
don't
go
do.
low, you go high.
Well, the love for you, both in Chicago and around the world,
It's real, baby.
is robust. Our love for you is fucking huge.
Yeah.
We got to thank you for coming on to the only podcast that
Thank you,
matters.
Andrew. We appreciate your time, bro.
Fake Short
Oh, yeah.
Drive.
What's your show? People listen to your fucking show. Amazon shit.
It's
Plug that.
Fake Short Drive Radio on AMP. Download AMP. It's a new Amazon AMP where everybody can have their own radio station. It's Fake Short Drive Radio. It is on every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're gonna have a lot of cool industry people on there,
Sick,
producers,
bro.
artists, and just like talking about, you know,
You're going to leverage that Rolodex.
right? Yeah, leverage role, and just like talk about like shit that people aren't asking. Because I feel like in a lot of times in interviews, people don't ask. You guys ask a lot of really good questions.
Thank you,
today,
man.
Right? That,
I mean, we
like,
feel the same way. We're like, this show is necessary to some degree that it needs to exist because like most podcasts are fucking boring, bro.
yeah, right, and it's the same shit. It's like, but and also like telling the story the right way and explaining like where you have people like now making TikToks of content that is not just these things that you can put into a 15-second clip or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, dude, I want to make sure that the story of what I worked on or have been a part of from Chicago hip hop to hip hop in general, or just the blog era, whatever, like that, the story's accurately told and like this knowledge is passed on and not just erased.
No,
people
for sure.
say the internet's forever, but how much stuff is gone now that
Honestly, you're right, dude.
it's like the 4-pin stuff, right? Like, what, does that stuff exist anywhere now?
I don't think so, dog.
No.
Unfortunately. It got smalled into complex and then the CMS changed or whatever. And it's just, it's
Delete
literally,
code.
Think about how
It's
much good
done.
stuff
it's a bummer, bro.
like so much good stuff from that time.
Yeah.
And it's like the internet's forever. It's like, nah, it's really not.
Now it is the
It
wild,
is, but it's not.
Now
you
it is
know?
now it is the wild wild west.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, now it's like
It's
it is
just
what it
fucking
is.
fodder for cancellations and shit. All the actual good stuff where we should get our props for. That's all gone. Whatever.
Yeah,
What are
right.
you gonna do?
Yeah.
Well, Andrew,
Yeah, we
thank
appreciate
again.
you, bro. Thank you so much, man.
Nah, man. Honor and a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Classic.
Jeff, take us out.